Check, check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Get the right mics up. Let's double check codec. Let's double check CamLink 40. We're good to go there. All right. Yeah, these new headphones are awesome, except check, check, check. Yeah.
This is Armed American Radio.
If they want to take my guns, they're going to have to bring a station wagon and a whole lot of friends, because I'm not giving them anything.
From the Car Firearms Group studio at the Patriot Mobile Communication Center. Proudly presented to you by the National Rifle Association. Here is your host of Armed American Radio, the loudest conservative voice in America fighting for your rights, Mark Walters.
Welcome into the Monster Cast, ladies and gentlemen. Armed American Radio begins right now from the Car Firearms Group studios. Mark Walters, filling your prescription for freedom today and every day here at the Patriot Mobile Command Center in front of the CZ mic, and it's all brought to you by the National Rifle Association. We're live for you on Facebook. If you want to watch us over there on all of your devices, please do so. Enjoy that, but don't do it while you're driving. Greg in Dallas, Texas, how you doing, my brother?
Not too bad. Sunday got here quick as usual.
It always does, man. We're going to do something a little bit unusual in today's hour. I'll explain that in just a moment. I'll let you do your thing, and then how about we get into it? You ready? Do it.
Yeah,
do it kind of slow, because I do want to take a sip of my Celsius.
All right. Well,
probably shouldn't. It's my second one today.
Rut-row.
That's 400 milligrams of caffeine. Well, I had to with this one, man. I'm gonna get kind of nasty on this, because I'll wait until you do your thing, and then we'll tell you about it.
Yeah, don't spoil it. All right. No. If you want to watch the show, other places other than Facebook are going to be YouTube and Rumble. Just search for Armed American Radio with Mark Walters. If you want to find us over on X, just search for AAR Mark. You can head over to armedamericanradio.org or .com, hit that menu icon, then select your watch live or listen live option. And I guess lastly, if you want to join our live chat, all you have to do is download Telegram, create your profile, and search for Armed American Radio Conversations.
Yeah, and I want to point out, too, we're not back on Rumble yet. That's Rumble's fault, not ours.
We're not? Oh, okay.
Not yet. That's Rumble's fault. That's not our fault, but... So we're going to do something a little different today. First, let me give you the layout of the program. Greg, as you know, most of my peeps are many thousands, tens of thousands of folks are on their way now to Las Vegas. They're in midair right now on their way to the 2026 annual Shooting, Hunting, and Outdoor Trade Show. I am not one of them this week, and there's a reason for that. I chose at the last minute not to go for personal reasons. However, the good part about that is whenever I'm at SHOT, since I don't broadcast live there anymore, while I'm out there, you don't get live programs during the week. Well, this week you do, because it really doesn't matter if I'm there or not. You get the show. And we will be talking to some fine folks from the SHOT Show, one of them in hour 2, an Aussie by the name of Kate Fantinel, who I met at the Gun Rights Policy Conference. And boy, does she have a warning for you, Mr. and Mrs. America, and it's a big one. And I'll get into all that shortly in the next hour. But right now, Greg, something a little different. Because so many people are on their way out there, I chose to give everybody the day off. In hour 1, and I'm going to cover Virginia for you, ladies and gentlemen, in, I say grave detail or great detail, because it's a dire situation in Virginia. The legislative session is about to begin. And what I want you to take away from this hour as I go through this, I'm going to go through every single bill in Virginia now that has already been submitted. I want you to keep in mind that the Democrats, because they're sneaky little guys and gals, these Democrats, they hate you, they hate your rights, they hate your freedoms, they hate your guns. Yes, they want to take them away. You'll find that to be the case. Guys, facts are stubborn things. Maybe you're listening to the program today, maybe you're a Democrat, maybe you don't believe that. Well, we're going to fix you if you're fixable. If you're not, and you're one of those people that supports what's going on in Minnesota, well, you're not fixable. So we're going to cut you down and educate you and slap you over the head with the U.S. Constitution and some facts, because facts are, in fact, stubborn things. So, Greg, are you ready to start this? It's very disturbing.
Yeah, sure. Let's get it. Let's cover it. I got a buddy in Virginia. We were talking about some of this today.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, ladies and gentlemen. The reason I tell you this and the reason I focus on Virginia, since November, when the Democrats took 18 seats, got a supermajority in the House of Delegates, they also have a majority in the Senate. And of course, they control the AG and they control the governor's mansion. Here's the deal. Every one of these bills I'm about to go through with you is going to pass in Virginia. You're about to get Californicated in Virginia. And I guess from now on, we'll be able to tell you if you live in a blue state, you're going to be Virginiafied, because it's getting ready to happen. And one of the things I want to point out to you is it doesn't matter if you live in Virginia. It makes no difference. The takeaway here is if the Democrats take both houses of Congress and the White House, you can expect to be Virginiafied and Californicated in the exact same way. Now, Corporal Cubaugh, I don't take much stock in what he says. He's wrong most of the time. but he made a very bold prediction on Fox News over the last couple of days saying that the Democrats will wipe out the Republicans in the midterms. Is that possible? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible. It could happen. If it does happen, well, Trump is still in office. They won't have a veto-proof majority. So I'm not too concerned about that now. What I'm concerned about, of course, is the next presidential election. So I want you to pay careful attention here. And I'm going to come off of the Virginia Citizens Defense League website and some of the emails. And guys, if you're not a member of VCDL, now is the time to join. I am a member. I just re-upped again. And I would hope that you might consider, particularly after you hear this, because it doesn't matter if you live in Virginia. Understand that this is what they want for you if they gain power in Washington, D.C. And they're just going mad, absolute berserk crazy right now. Let's start with this. HB 19, filed by Delegate McClure. He is a Democrat. Makes battery in a dating relationship a misdemeanor. And what do the Democrats want for misdemeanors in Virginia? To take away your right to purchase, possess, or transport a firearm for 3 years. Commentary from VCDL on that is misdemeanors should never take away a civil right. The Democrats don't care. Comment on that, Greg?
Well, a little bit, yeah, because there's a lot of, like we're going through with the federal government in the rights restoration process. There's a lot of crimes that even if they are felony, your rights are guaranteed after your debts are paid to society, and they should be, of course, restored so that you can go about being an average citizen, and in this case, being able to defend yourself.
And there are debatable topics regarding that. Some of that is open for debate. There's no question about that. We're fair here. All right. But a misdemeanor, sorry, guys. And what happens after misdemeanor? Maybe traffic tickets? Traffic tickets are misdemeanors.
They are.
All right. The Democrats will what? Ryan Petty, who will be here in the third hour, the Democrats will never stop. In Virginia, they want a misdemeanor to take away your right to keep and bear arms. HB 21, filed by Delegate Helmer. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this legislative session in Virginia begins this week. And I want to point out now as we go through this, Rally Day is tomorrow, the 19th in Virginia. We'll go into that in the final segment of the show. But keep that in the back of your mind, because the last one they held, 2020, was about 60,000 people. The mainstream media and their Democrats tried to tell you by showing you little drone shots of a side street that it was only 5,000 people, when in reality it was the entire downtown covered with those fighting for the right to bear arms in Virginia. HB 21, Delegate Helmer has filed the bill allowing one of the most highly regulated industries, of course, the firearms industry, meeting in Vegas this week, to be sued civilly for a variety of already illegal actions. It also holds the manufacturers and sellers of even the most benign of firearm accessories, like a buttstock or gun case, liable to a civil lawsuit if it doesn't properly protect that item from theft or misuse by a criminal. So the question here posed is, how could a firearm accessory seller reasonably know if they were selling a gunsling to a prohibited person? Should a car parts store, ladies and gentlemen, be sued if they sold a seat cover for a car used in a bank robbery? Because that's the analogy here. That's what we're talking about. The bill is designed to have a chilling effect on every single aspect of the firearm industry. Delegate Helmer is, of course, a Democrat. Comments, Greg?
Yeah, it's interesting because, a gunsling, wow, what a dangerous weapon there that might be. What if the individual is into airsoft? Or what if they're into paintball and they want a sling for their air rifle?
What if they're just into a sling?
And what if they're buying a sling for their buddy for their birthday or for Christmas as a stocking stuff? Could be a million different reasons why they bought that sling.
What if they just collect slings? What if they just collect slings?
I mean, sure.
Okay.
I get it. I mean,
right.
People collect the strangest of things, and if they're into slings, let them buy the slings.
I collect goat guns. Do the Democrats want to take away my gun rights if I collect goat guns? YouTube thinks so if I build one live on the air.
They probably try to call them SBRs.
Yeah, there you go. I got banned, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, and taken off live stream on YouTube because I put together our sponsor, Goat Gun's little miniature 6-inch toy gun during a break on live. But they brought us back. It's cool. It's all good now.
30.
All right. With the remaining 30 seconds, I'll just tell you, get this. Because Delegate Helmer, he's not stopping there. HB 24, severely restricts concealed handgun permit recognition with other states. Now, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to give you some inside information. Well, it's not inside information. You know, we've talked about it before. But nevertheless, there's a reason for this. And many of you are thinking, well, constitutional carry is, 29 states. Virginia is not one of them, ladies and gentlemen. And right now, Virginia honors the permits of all other 49 states. That is about to change. I can promise you that as we sit here today on Armed American Radio's Daily Defense, Armed American Radio's Monstercast, here from the Car Firearms Group studios.
15.
It's all being brought to you by the NRA, ladies and gentlemen, who, by the way, is based in Virginia. We'll be back with more from Virginia Nonsense right after this. Back live at you guys. Ready to roll. Yeah, pulled my headphone out. That's not good. Can't hear myself. The following segment of Armed American Radio is proudly being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Help us defend freedom by visiting nra.org/AAR and join today. Welcome back to the show. Guys, the National Rifle Association needs your help, and we need your support. I say we because I just renewed for another 5 years. We need you to do it. I'm asking you to give us 1 year. $35 for 1 year. Please join us. If you live in Virginia and you're not a member of the NRA, you're doing yourself and the right to bear arms a terrible disservice. Please join the organization. It's simple. We make it easy for you. NRA.org/AAR. NRA.org/AAR. They present the show every single day, and they are fighting what is going on in Virginia right now, tooth and nail. Not just Virginia, but all over the country. Those of you in Florida know, for example, in the 18 to 21 lawsuit that's currently underway. The National Rifle Association is the 800-pound gorilla. The left hates them. Join. We need your assistance, and we thank them for their retweet. We're up getting close to 1,000 views already. Thanks to the National Rifle Association. We appreciate them. NRA.org/AAR and take advantage of that. Virginia now in the crosshairs of the anti-rights Democrats. Let's continue here in the Car Firearms Group studios. I want to be able to get through all of these. Delegate Helmer, he's on fire right now. HB 21 and HB 24. HB 24 severely restricts concealed handgun permit recognition with other states. Now, keep in mind, as I told you as we were coming out of that first segment, 49 states are accepted by Virginia right now. He wants to restrict that. The state that I live in will be a prime example of that, because currently Virginia honors permits from all other states, which in turn allow Virginians to be able to carry in most of those states. Some of them are constitutional carry states. Virginia residents may not use a permit from another state to carry in Virginia. For example, they can't get a Florida out-of-state permit. They must have a Virginia permit. Permit holders from other states have been peacefully carrying in Virginia for years, ladies and gentlemen. This bill is simply an unjust and demeaning slap in the face to every single law-abiding Virginia gun owner, as it will reduce the number of states where a Virginia permit holder can carry a handgun for self-defense. This bill makes Virginians who are traveling less safe. It will also discourage gun owners outside of Virginia from visiting the Commonwealth, affecting the state's economy. This bill is a solution in search of a problem that doesn't exist. Commentary, Greg? Let me use Georgia as an example. Now, Georgia's a constitutional carry state. Virginians can carry here, okay?
Yeah.
Problem is I won't be able to carry on my permit, which I can now, because here in the state of Georgia, we do not have a training requirement. We simply go and pay for our permit, $77 if it's new, $33 for a renewal. That's it. Takes about all of 6 minutes. Fill out one page, sign it, get your instant background check done immediately at the probate court, fill out an envelope, self-addressed to you. 7 days later, your permit's in the mail. It's that simple. Virginia Democrats are not going to like that because we don't have a training requirement. So Georgia will get axed, which means those of us, because it's not a constitutional carry state. I have family in Virginia. I go visit my family. I can't carry my gun legally. You can read between the lines there, ladies and gentlemen. So I'll leave it at that. Go ahead, Greg.
It just seems like they're pushing these unconstitutional permits, and then with the unconstitutional permits comes requirements that's this state will not recognize another state if they're not in line with that state. And it all seems like it's just to muddy the waters so that they can then deny people the ability to carry their firearm, which they are constitutionally permitted to do.
A solution in search of a problem that doesn't exist. You just said that.
There you go.
That's it. VCDL is correct. SB 27, Senator Carol Foy. Carol Foy is, of course, a Democrat. Her bill allows an already highly regulated industry, the firearms industry, to be sued civilly for a variety of already illegal actions. The repeat, we've already heard this. It also holds the manufacturers and sellers of even the most benign of firearm accessories responsible. We already went through that. SB 38, Senator Favola, a Democrat, requires a person with a protective order against them or a person with a domestic violence conviction to surrender, sell, or turn their guns over to someone 21 years older, or 21 or older, and someone who does not live with them. It requires that person to be advised that if a police officer believes they have not turned over all of their guns, that the officer can get a search warrant to look for any such guns. Now, there's a lot of problems with the bill the way it's written. If a husband and wife co-own a shotgun for home defense, for example, and the husband gets a protective order issued against him, the wife would no longer have access to that co-owned shotgun. That punishes the wife and needlessly endangers her life. There's also the question of not allowing a person 18 to 20 years old to retain the guns. A person in that age range can legally possess rifles, shotguns, and handguns. Why can't young adults be used to hold the guns? Can't be trusted? Another solution in search of a problem. HB 40, Delegate Simon. This is all happening in Virginia, ladies and gentlemen, right now as the session begins. Delegate Simon, a Democrat, makes unfinished firearm. This is HB 40. Makes unfinished firearm frames and receivers and unserialized commercially made firearms unlawful to possess, purchase, sell, or transfer unless they are serialized. Even a chunk, ladies and gentlemen, of aluminum, if sold to the public to become a frame or receiver, once completed, must be serialized under the bill. The bill doesn't grandfather existing homemade firearms. The bill is unconstitutional, as there were no analog in the history or traditions of firearms with any such limitations at the time of the Bill of Rights when it was adopted, that under Bruin. 2022. Homemade guns have been legal since before the United States existed. And of course, government, our servants, keep that in mind, exempts itself from all of this foolishness. Greg, legal for them, but not legal for you, brother.
And that's absolutely correct. The rules for thee, but not for me. But here's also the thing is when thee goes to sue in court, thee is going to have to spend a lot of money. And thee is going to have to probably take it all the way to the Supreme Court, which is a big chunk of change in order to get heard.
And that's the point. Many years. And that is the point. And many years. And no guarantee the Supreme Court can take less than 1% of cases.
Is the punishment in this case. And then they want to bankrupt you while you're fighting for your rights. And if you don't have the money, then you lose your rights.
Boom. HB 93, Delegate Bennett Parker. A what? A Democrat. This bill, HB 93, these are all filed, ladies and gentlemen, requires a person with a protective order against them or a person with a domestic violence conviction to surrender, sell, or turn their guns over to someone 21. And that same thing, same bill, just another Democrat doing the same thing. HB 110, Delegate Lawfer. A what? A Democrat creates a $500 civil penalty and subjects a vehicle to towing if a person leaves a visible handgun in an unattended vehicle. So here's the deal. As quoted by Virginia Citizens Defense League, the car owner should not be at fault, even if a criminal opens an unlocked car door to steal a firearm. It is the criminal who is solely to blame. We've talked about this a lot, Greg. I don't care if you leave your car running. It doesn't make the crime of stealing the car any less because you left your car running, maybe because the heat was on, so that you go get a sleeve of peanuts inside a 7-Eleven. It doesn't lessen the charge. It's still grand theft auto. The punishment is still the same. But the Democrats want to penalize you. This bill would put a handgun in the possession of and under the control of a tow truck company. Punish criminals and stop harassing good people, ladies and gentlemen. But not if you're a Democrat. As a Delegate Lawfer in HB 110. When we come back from the break, Senator Pekarsky, SB 115. You know, it's a repeat of, yet again, the permit scheme we just talked about in Virginia. When we come back, we will move on. Armed American Radio's Monstercast continues. Mark Walters here in the Car Firearms Group studios with you. A big shout out to hundreds of our affiliates across the country. We appreciate you and we love you. And to all of those of you tuned in, listening, traveling to SHOT Show, love you. We'll be back 4 minutes. On the flip side, don't go away.
The Democrats are coming. The Democrats are coming.
Ladies and gentlemen, is that clip from AWR an absolute classic or what? Greg and I were just talking about it. There's no truer words have been spoken. And coming from AWR. Can you play that again real quick for us?
One sec.
The Democrats are coming. The Democrats are coming.
I mean, can't you just see him leading a charge with a flag that says the Democrats are coming? The Democrats are coming.
Yeah. And
and they are
and-
coming, ladies and gentlemen. They're coming.
and all you can see is the mindless Borg of multicolored Democrats, all overweight or underweight, and charging at you at a very slow pace, but yet still screaming and needing their inhalers all at the same time.
with their blue hair,
Yep.
their liberal white women.
Fat liberal white women.
I mean, ladies and gentlemen, the Democrats are coming. You're going to hear that. We're going to play that throughout the evening today. Okay. Greg and I were just talking about that. So stick around with us. We'll be right back after this break. We've got a lot to cover with you regarding Virginia. It is a mess. I want to get through all of this, but there are some bills that they support, and it will surprise you, but it won't surprise you. You'll understand when we get into the fourth segment, which is where we'll go in that segment. But what a mess. It's what happens when you vote for Democrats, ladies and gentlemen. You get screwed. We'll be right back. All right, guys, 20 seconds back live with you. Thanks for tuning in. Please like and share the post. If you're watching us on X, follow us at AAR Mark. We would appreciate it. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, please follow us over there. Subscribe to the channel and subscribe to the Armed American Radio podcast on your favorite podcast platform, and never miss an episode of the live show, please. 18 years into this, man. We need you guys. Thank you for being here. This segment of Armed American Radio is proudly being brought to you by Blackout Coffee. Visit them at blackoutcoffee.com/AAR. Grab that discount and free shipping. Welcome back to the show. Yeah, welcome back to the show, guys. Start my day with Blackout Coffee every day. Greg, how many cups of coffee do you think I had this morning to start my day?
I hope it was one that would hold 2 cups of coffee.
I'll make it easy for you. It was a pot.
There you go.
It was a pot. And ladies and gentlemen, we keep it in there, and it's nice and warm for a couple hours during the morning. It's blackoutcoffee.com, blackoutcoffee.com/AAR. Take advantage of the great discounts. Enjoy great, and it's good, strong coffee, which is what I love. And when I say strong coffee, I don't mean highly caffeinated. I mean, it's just got a really rich, strong, robust flavor. And I like that in coffee. It's not weak at all. Put about 3 scoops, 4 scoops in for a 6 to 10 ounce cup of coffee, and you got a good, strong cup of coffee. So please enjoy that. And when you support Blackout Coffee, you support Armed American Radio. You support Jared Yanis over at Guns and Gadgets and all that fun stuff as a principal. So please take advantage of the great offers that we offer you for all of our partners and sponsors. You can find all of them, including Blackout Coffee, at armedamericanradio.com, armedamericanradio.com. Let's get back here in the Car Firearms Group studios to more of this Virginia nonsense. So if you leave a gun in your car, they can tow it. Why? They say for public safety, because apparently the gun is going to somehow jump out of your vehicle and rob that liquor store you're walking into, or rob that 7-Eleven that you're in, getting a sleeve of peanuts and a sugar-free Red Bull. Unbelievable. SB 115, Senator Pekarsky, another Democrat, severely restricts concealed handgun permit recognition. So it's a sister bill to the other one. Same thing. SB 160, Senator Perry. Greg, any idea what party Senator Perry might hail from?
Let me guess. The Democrats?
He's a Democrat. What does
okay.
AWR tell us?
The Democrats are coming. The Democrats are coming.
Yeah, another bill that makes battery in a dating relationship a misdemeanor and takes away the right to purchase, possess, or transport a firearm for 3 years. And as we said, misdemeanors should never take away a civil right. SB 173, Senator Williams Graves, prohibits firearms or knives with a blade longer than 3.5 inches in facilities that provide mental health services or developmental services. What are developmental services, Greg? Do you know the definition of that? I don't.
I mean, I might have a guess, but I'm not allowed to say it on the air.
Yeah, let's not go there. Okay, it's FCC and Greg knows the rules. All right. Developmental services, including hospitals, emergency departments, or emergency medical care facilities if they offer such services. So the bottom line here is disarming visitors and guests, including concealed handgun permit holders at such facilities, violates their right to protect themselves in an emergency. At a U.S. District Court in the Second Circuit has already restrained enforcement of just such a law for being unconstitutional under New York Rifle and Pistol Association v. Bruin Supreme Court ruling. Do the Democrats care, Greg?
Absolutely not.
Because the Democrats are what?
The Democrats are coming. The Democrats are coming.
I just absolutely love that AWR drop. That was just so good. All right, let's keep it going because they are, in fact, coming. HB 207, Delegate Keys Gamarra creates a $500 tax on suppressors. Greg, what did the federal government just do? January 1st, remove the what? $200 tax stamp at the federal level?
The tax stamp, that's correct.
Not good enough for Virginia Democrats. Why? Because the Democrats are what?
The Democrats are coming. The Democrats are coming.
A $500 tax on suppressors, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the deal. Truth, stubborn things, facts, stubborn things. The last case of a legally owned suppressor being used in a crime in Virginia, do you know what it was, Greg? We talked about it on the air. It was in 2019, I'll tell you that. Virginia Beach, the gun-free zone.
That's right. Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. And suppressors don't eliminate a gun sound, ladies and gentlemen. They merely lower the sound to a more manageable, hearing-safe level. They reduce the sound level as loud as a jet plane taking off down to the sound level of a jackhammer. The reduced sound level is more neighbor-friendly when target shooting. Suppressors also protect the hunter's hearing. Some suppressors are priced at around $300. So this would be a 160% tax, folks. What does a high tax achieve other than purposefully pricing people out of the market, discouraging target shooters from reducing the sound level heard by neighbors or making it harder for a hunter to protect his hearing? Brought to you by another Democrat. HB 217, Delegate Helmer. Woo, on fire, this cat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Third one. Prohibits the sale, possession, transfer, and transport of an assault firearm made on or after July 1, 2026. It also prohibits sale, possession, transfer, and transport of an assault firearm to anyone under the age of 21. Magazines that hold more than 10 rounds and were made on or after July 1, 26 are prohibited. The Supreme Court has already said in both D.C. Heller and recently the New York State Rifle Bruin case that any firearm in common use is protected by the Second Amendment, period. The Democrats don't care. Because why, Greg? The Democrats are what?
The Democrats are coming. The Democrats are coming.
HB 229, Delegate Hernandez. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, all of these bills are filed in Virginia. Prohibits firearms or knives with a blade of 3.5 inches. Yet another Democrat coming after you on this. Same thing as before. SB 272, Senator Deeds is a Democrat. Restricts firearms at public institutions of higher education by requiring such firearms to be part of an authorized program or activity inside a building. This, again, ladies and gentlemen, is another solution in search of a problem. Higher education students are adults and have a right to self-defense. SB 312, Senator Eben, a Democrat. Get this. Bans the carry of one, a semi-automatic centerfire rifle or pistol that has a fixed magazine that holds more than 10 rounds, or two, a semi-automatic centerfire rifle or pistol that accepts a detachable magazine of any size. Does your pistol accept a detachable magazine of any size? And, of course, according to him, because this is how they couch it, has any of a variety of cosmetic features. Or three, a semi-automatic shotgun with a fixed magazine that holds more than 7 rounds of the longest ammunition for which it is chambered, or has a detachable magazine of any size with any of a variety of cosmetic features. I have 2 of those guns for which it is chambered, or has a detachable magazine of any size with any variety of those cosmetic common features. On or about a person on a public street, road, alley, sidewalk, public right-of-way, in a park, or in any place open to the public. You know what that means, ladies and gentlemen? Freaking everywhere. Welcome to Virginia under Democrat control. Under this bill, a person couldn't even carry such a firearm, get this, from the gun store, which is open to the public, to their car. It doesn't matter if the firearm's unloaded. Concealed handgun permit holders and a licensed security guard are no longer exempt from this code section, even though neither one has caused any legal issues by carrying such loaded firearms publicly for over a decade. Of course, the government, our servant, exempts itself from this bill.
Of course.
In fact, all of these bills. The U.S. Supreme Court has already ruled that citizens have the right to carry firearms outside of their homes and in public. So this bill is unconstitutional on its face. Moving on. HB 626, Delegate Carlson, a Democrat, restricts firearms at public institutions of higher education by requiring such firearms to be part of an authorized program or activity inside a building. A solution in search of a problem, yet again. How much time do I have? Go ahead.
About 50 seconds. It's as if they didn't witness Virginia Tech. And you know what? Maybe some of these legislators are not old enough to remember Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech.
What tech?
Virginia.
What state are we talking about?
Virginia.
Whew, there's that. I forgot. You know, I went to college. I went to college at Radford University, 9 miles from Virginia Tech. I know it well. You know, yeah, they forgot Virginia Tech in Virginia. Real quick, HB 700, Delegate Hayes, a Democrat, requires that a person must wait 5 days before a purchased or rented firearm can be transferred to them. Gun sales, both private and commercial, ladies and gentlemen, will require a buyer to make 2 trips to a dealer to get the firearm, and such trips could be lengthy. This is going to do, think about this, gun shows. This bill will do severe harm to gun shows, as most are only 2 days long. They're the weekend. And would therefore require all purchasers to have to travel to a gun store, possibly across the state, to pick up that firearm.
Right. And
I don't need to tell you that there are many, many, many sad cases, many of them we've covered here, where someone who urgently needed a firearm, well, was murdered while they had to wait. Armed American Radio's Monster Cast continues with more Virginia nonsense right after the break. Don't go away.
The Democrats are coming. The Democrats are coming.
Unbelievable stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievable stuff. I hope you're paying careful attention. This is what they have in store for you if they win at the federal level. Now, I'm going to make a prediction when we come back. I'm going to skate through a couple more of these bills. There's a litany of them. I've got 16 pages here covering a full hour, and I'm not going to get to all of it. What does that tell you? And by the way, there are more coming after Rally Day tomorrow. Yeah, more. There's more. Believe it or not.
I got something you might find interesting to hear. Hold on.
Mics are live, by the way.
Armed citizens stopped 48% of all criminal shooters last year, and the FBI was just caught massively lying about those numbers in their public reports. They recorded, get this, none of them. 0%. Now, you and I and everyone else have seen those local heroes on social media, but rarely do we ever see these stories in mainstream media. Well, the script is about to flip because a new study by the Crime Prevention Research Center reveals that armed civilians stopped over 1/3 of active criminal shooters between 2014 and 2024, nearly 10 times higher than FBI's reported 3.7% average. And again, with even more Americans getting armed post-2020, just last year alone in 2024, civilians stopped half of all criminal shooters. Yet, as I just stated, the FBI recorded 0 of them. You might be asking, how is this possible? Well, while digging for the study, researchers found that police were often falsely credited instead of the armed civilian, which is a recording pattern that clearly increased over the last 10 years. But now this begs the question, why would they work so hard to hide the significant benefits of an armed public.
Well, you know why I know that's not true, Greg?
Because the FBI would never lie.
No, because I didn't see it on ABC or NBC or CBS, so it must not have happened. Must not
Very
be
true.
accurate. Mainstream media didn't cover it. We know it didn't happen, ladies and gentlemen.
Very
Of
true.
course, I'm being facetious. You understand that. I'll be right back with you guys. Unbelievable. This segment is brought to you by Attorneys on Retainer. Get the only self-defense program for gun owners backed by a real law firm, the Attorneys for Freedom. Visit them online at attorneysonretainer.us. Welcome back. Yeah, guys, welcome back to the Car Firearms Group Studios. Mark Walters filling your prescription for freedom now in our 17th year anniversary coming up on April 26th. And over all of those years, this is the single most no-brainer partner sponsor we have ever had. With hands down, the greatest sponsor we've ever brought to you. Guys, if you carry a gun, you know bad things happen. And when bad things happen, guess what? You get investigated. Even if it's a good shoot. And you're not entitled to an attorney for free, should you need a free attorney during an investigation. Attorneys on Retainer has your back. The back of this card here gives you all of your instructions, what you need to do and what you need not to do. Makes it very clear for you. You pick the phone up, call your lawyer because you have a lawyer. It is $37 a month. I don't know how to stress the importance of that $37 a month. If you have to raid your kids' piggy bank jars every month, do it. If you have to dig it out of the couch cushions, do it. Get it. Have an attorney. And God forbid, if you have to go to jail or if you have to go to trial and avoid jail, you'll have up to 4 attorneys on your team. Think Dream Team. It is critically important. You can find them, attorneysonretainer.us/AAR. Take advantage of this amazing program. And you can find all of our great partners. If you're watching on great high definition, I've got my Bud's Gun Shop shirt on here, budsgunshop.com. They have everything you need and want, and you want and need everything they have. It is a match made in heaven, brought to you by Armed American Radio, our exclusive online retailer. Make sure to visit all of our great partners at armedamericanradio.com. Greg, let's continue on with.
Yeah, sure, Mark. And real quick,
Yeah.
I wanted to interrupt because I just got a surprise call from one of our special guests that usually joins the roundtable or us for an entire hour. Representative Quang Nguyen is on hold.
Oh, Representative
The
Quang Nguyen,
Shredder.
the Shredder. Okay, I'm going to guess he's been listening. Representative Quang Nguyen,
he
how are you?
has.
Yeah, Representative Quang Nguyen, welcome in. How are you, my friend? Thank you for the surprise call.
Well, thank you, Mark and Greg, for allowing me to crash the party. I was listening, and yeah, it's amusing. It's amusing, but I can guarantee you Arizona is in good shape right about now.
Yeah,
Can you hear it in the background?
yeah, a little bit. I have a quote from Quang from earlier today that I was going to read in this segment. So while I have you on the phone, let me read this. The Arizona legislature began its second session of the 57th legislature on January 12th. And in just the first week alone, Democrats, ladies and gentlemen, in the House have introduced 16 anti-gun bills. Here are some of the lowlights. HB 2420 will require that you as an individual have to be an FFL holder in order to sell a firearm and transfer one. Seriously, Kwong?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It requires that you have to have an FFL.
HB 2421 will ban corporations from manufacturing assault weapons or high-capacity magazines, defined as whatever they choose to define an assault weapon as, I take it, Kwong.
Absolutely. I haven't been able to define assault weapon myself, and as far as high capacity, for me, like I've been saying many, many years, for me personally, it's 1,000 plus one. That's high capacity.
So the party that can't define a man or a woman gets to define what my guns are?
Absolutely. Okay. And on the serious side of it, I this is really amusing, but, I had Aaron Marquez, a Democrat legislator, continue to approach me to have me endorse some of these bills. I mean, if you look at my face, how do you go about asking me to endorse these bills? I mean, you got to be pretty dumb to look at my face and say, this guy's going to endorse my anti-gun bills. But that is happening in the hallway.
Yeah, I've been there and watched it in action in the Arizona legislature, ladies and gentlemen. Remind us again, Greg, Democrats are what?
The Democrats are coming. The Democrats are coming.
We thank AAR Hawkins for that amazing drop because he's right. HB 2422, currently no training. Hold on, Kwong, real quick. HB 2422, currently no training is required in Arizona to acquire CCW. This bill will require live fire training in Arizona, where it's never been required, ever. But somehow now we need it, right? Another Democrat.
Yeah, we need it. We need it now. Once again, when people come to me and say, your Second Amendment is set, it's never going to go away, Kwong, why are you so paranoid about introducing all these different bills or shredding all these different bills? As you can see, that is a short list. Week 1, 16 bills. By the time we get to the end of February, you're going to have 30 plus bills. So,
as the chairman of the House Judiciary, as the chairman of the House Judiciary, these bills all move through you. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to read you part of the quote here from earlier that Kwong sent me. And again, I appreciate you calling in, Kwong. But to continue quick, 2571 bans full auto firearms in Arizona. I can't tell you how many times I fired full auto guns in Arizona. And HB 2815, one that really impacts you, bans elected officials, of which you are, from carrying in certain public areas and events, meaning you lose your constitutional rights if you're elected. And guys, Kwong puts in here an FCC unfriendly word. I'll let you figure it out yourself. Over my blanking dead body. All right. So a small taste, as Kwong says, of what Arizona could be under the total control of Democrats. There is no time to rest sitting in my chair at the legislature. And he just said he expects over 30 anti-two-gun bills in Arizona. Kwong, we have more from Virginia. Suffice to say, this is what they want for us, why I'm covering this for the hour. Ladies and gentlemen, anywhere you live, it doesn't matter. If the Democrats gain control in Washington, they are going to go bat guano crazy, just like they are in Virginia. Now, here's my prediction, Kwong. Every one of the bills I just went through with you, ladies and gentlemen, there are more, and there will be more after Wednesday, actually. Every one of them will pass in Virginia, and Spanberger will sign every single one of them. You're about to be Californicated, and the rest of the country will be Virginiafied if Democrats are allowed to gain power at the federal level ever again. Kwong, am I wrong about that?
No, you are not wrong. I mean, you're looking at Arizona right now. I consider it to be a red state, even though we have a blue Democrat governor. I consider it a red state, and the attacks is nonstop. It's daily. So when people come to me and say, "Hey, you're being paranoid," I'm not at all. Mark, I'm listening to you. I'm listening to what's happening in Virginia, and I don't ever want it to be happening here in Arizona. So for the next 3 years, that's all I have left in the legislature. I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing here, and you better buy me a new shredder soon here.
That was part of the quote. I hadn't gotten to that yet, but Kwong says he's going to need a gift of a new shredder by the time this legislative session is over. Yeah, an industrial strength shredder, right, Kwong? Guys, I got to tell you, I've been in his office. I've sat in his office. He introduced me on the House floor. It was wonderful. I have seen that shredder. Right now, it's still good. But Kwong, by the end of this session, it's probably going to be smoking, and people are going to be walking by your office going, "What's that smell?" And you're going to say, "I need a new shredder."
Well,
I'll be more than happy to sponsor that purchase.
So 30 bills, Mark, 30 bills is not going to wear the machine out, but people also need to remember there are continuous abortion bills coming to my desk as well. All the anti-religious bill will be coming through my desk. And why are they going through my desk? Because I walk up to the speaker and I said, I want to make sure all the abortion bills come to me, all the anti-gun bills come to me, and the friendly gun bills as well. And everything that has anything to do with the infringement of religious freedom, they will come to my desk as well. That's the reason why the shredder will be worn out.
Here's my favorite sound when I was in Kwong's office. Here's what I heard. I heard it with my own ears. That's the shredder, ladies and gentlemen. Kwong, I love you, brother. Thank you for the surprise phone call. Very fitting. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the moral of the story. The Democrats are coming. The Democrats are coming. They hate your rights. They hate your freedoms. They hate you. Remember that. Virginians, you have decisions to make. Are you going to comply with this? I can only tell you what I would do. And the answer is absolutely not. We'll be back with an Aussie guest right after the break. Don't go away.
You just filled your prescription for freedom with Mark Walters, presented by the National Rifle Association. The National Rifle Association on the Armed American Radio Network.
All right, boys and girls, we'll be back at 6 minutes after the hour. We're going to take a quick break here at the top of the hour. Coming up next, Kate from Australia, and her accent's wonderful. I love it. I'm going to do my best Australian accent impersonation as I do when I talk to her. It's always fun. But she has an urgent message for Americans. She was recently home over the holidays in Australia, and was very concerned about being there and being able to get out, or what might happen to her or her family while she was there. This is not a free country like you think it is, and she will give you firsthand experience. Now, she's married and lives in the United States, but her family is all in Australia. It's a dire situation down there. Why? Well, it's the same thing the Democrats have in store for you here. They always praise Australian gun control laws, and what we just covered with you in Virginia is not all of it. There's more coming, and Kate will have a lot to say. She'll be coming to us live from Las Vegas, where she arrived today for a week of the Shooting, Hunting, and Outdoor Trade Show. So I'm looking forward to speaking with her. I met her at the Gun Rights Policy Conference that I emceed for the weekend in September of 2025. Just if you want information on the GRPC, by the way, the Gun Rights Policy Conference, it will be held in Dallas the 26th and 27th. In Dallas, Texas, at the airport. I'll give you more information on that. I believe it's the Airport Marriott. But I'll be broadcasting from the Salem Radio Network while we're down there again. Okay? So we'll see you in just a few minutes. Stick around, back after the break with Kate. Don't go away. All right, guys, welcome back. Kate is on hold for us in Vegas. We got a good connection. You're going to love her Australian accent. She's awesome. And she brings tidings of great warnings to us today. And to the thousands of you watching, we appreciate it very much. Please subscribe to us. It helps us with the algorithms. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe over there. Even if you're not, go over there and do it. Armed American Radio. Rumble, big help over there. X, please. Like us over there and follow us on X at AAR Mark, where many of you are watching right now. And please do the same on Facebook. About 80,000 of you over there, and we appreciate it.
This is Armed American Radio.
If they want to take my guns, they're going to have to bring a station wagon and a whole lot of friends because I'm not giving them anything.
From the Car Firearms Group studio at the Patriot Mobile Communication Center. Proudly presented to you by the National Rifle Association. National Rifle Association. Here is your host of Armed American Radio, the loudest conservative voice in America fighting for your rights, Mark Walters.
Yeah, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just joining the program, welcome to Hour 2. We appreciate you being here very much. Love each and every one of you. To all of our hundreds of affiliates across the country, thank you for carrying the broadcast now 17 years into this. April 27th marks our 18th year. The Car Firearms Group studios are lit up for you. The CZ mic is on fire, and we're coming to you from the Patriot Mobile Communication and Command Center. And I do want to point out real quick as we get started, this is a Patriot Mobile activated phone I'm holding up. If you're not watching and you're listening, just trust that I'm holding up a Patriot Mobile iPhone there. And you can do the same thing, folks. Just visit patriotmobile.com/AAR, patriotmobile.com/AAR, and take advantage of all the great discounts over there. You know, Verizon just went out last week, and they're trying to give everybody $20 to appease them. Yeah, well, that don't go around here, law dog. Patriot Mobile, your service didn't go down, folks, and it won't when it happens to AT&T, which it has, or T-Mobile, or all the others. And I can promise you that none of those phone companies, not one of them, support your right to bear arms. Not one. In fact, they donate to the people who hate your rights. Guess what? Patriot Mobile wears their support for the Second Amendment right there on their website. And you can see it for yourself in their mission statement at patriotmobile.com/AAR. You're on the Armed American Radio Network. Greg and Dallas, let's get started. Hour 2, Hour 1 was a doozy and an eye-opener. Guys, I hope if you missed it, they'll have it up on podcast for you later. Greg and Dallas, how you doing? We are live on Facebook if you want to watch us over there, facebook.com/Armed American Radio, brother. How you doing, Dallas, Greg?
I'm doing pretty good. Hour 1 did fly right by.
Always does, and a lot of really scary information. This hour is going to be equal to or worse in that respect. Greg, tell people where else they can watch the live streams if they choose to, as long as they're not driving. You can listen, guys. You can Bluetooth it. You know, the magic of all that crap that we have in our hands, unfortunately. And then we'll get cracking with our guest, who is going to blow your minds, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back in. Greg, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Other places to watch the show going to be YouTube. Just do a search for Armed American Radio with Mark Walters. You can head over to the website, armedamericanradio.org or .com. Hit that menu icon, then select your watch live or listen live option. And lastly, if you'd like to join our live chat, just download Telegram, create your profile, and search for Armed American Radio Conversations.
Yeah, you don't have to join the live. If you want to, we would appreciate it. But if not, you can comment on YouTube, you can comment on X, you can comment on Facebook, and we see all
populate together.
We all see it populated up there, and we've got some of the comments up on the screen. So feel free to get involved in the conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, I met Australian Kate Fantinel at the Gun Rights Policy Conference in September in Salt Lake City this year, and it was an eye-opening conversation. And Kate and I communicated through a mutual friend of ours, Stephen Williford. You remember Stephen Williford, who stopped the church shooter in Texas. Stephen called me a couple days ago, and he says, Mark, you really need to get Kate on the program, and he's right about that. So Kate and I communicated this week, and she is coming to us live right now from Las Vegas. She will be out there at the Shooting, Hunting, and Outdoor Trade Show, otherwise lovingly known as the SHOT Show. Kate, welcome into the program. You've got a lot to talk with us about. How are you?
G'day, Mark. I wish it would be under better circumstances that we're having this chat, but it's only gotten worse since I met you in Salt Lake City, my beautiful birth country.
Yeah.
Just terrible news coming out of Australia just before Christmas.
Oh, it's a mess, isn't it? And God, I tell you, when you said g'day, Greg laughed in my ear because your accent is wonderful. I love it. I'm going to do my best with my Australian accent from time to time. I have a tough time doing the O thing, you know. No. How did I do it? No. Did I do it? Did I do it?
We put an R on the end of it. No. So you're doing good. No.
All right, well, g'day, mate. It's great to have you here. And now, so let's start really from the beginning here. And I'm not going to go back to September. I want to go to our recent conversation. You went home for the holidays back to Australia, did you not?
Yes, I actually flew out of Dallas-Fort Worth. I live in San Antonio, Texas now, and I flew out of Dallas-Fort Worth on the 14th of December. So I was watching these scenes on Twitter, 10 minutes of footage of this terrorist attack, one of the longest filmed terrorist attacks in the world, because nobody had firearms to go out and save the day. They were sitting there with their cameras, pointing cameras instead of pointing firearms to defend ourselves. And I was watching this horrific scene. Never in my life would I think I would see a sacred site like Bondi Beach, one of the most iconic beaches in the world, turn into a war zone. It was heartbreaking. I was terrified, because at the time I wrote a post on the basis of this is what happens when you let a nation become defenseless victims. We do not have the right to use lethal or non-lethal means for self-defense in Australia. And I'm talking about pepper spray too. That is a weapon that we are not allowed to carry to protect ourselves, let alone using firearms. And to see it get to the point where these poor people are sitting ducks on the beach, celebrating their own religious tradition, and the war has come to Australia, just my heart is broken for my country.
You walked the beach. You saw the bloodstained sand. We talked about this privately a couple of days ago. Tell listeners across the country what went through your mind when you saw that at home where you're from.
Yeah. So I flew into Sydney, and I was actually staying near Bondi Beach, beautiful part of Sydney there. And I went down there and I saw all the police tape and all the cops now carrying AR-15s in public, and just cannot even imagine the terror. I mean, seeing people pick up bloody bricks, and that hero who tackled the shooter, one of the shooters, and didn't know how to use the firearm to defend himself or end the situation, because we don't have that accessibility to even say firearms training. That's not a thing in Australia at all. A lot of Australians have never seen a gun before. That's why he probably didn't know how to handle it. And to go down there, and I just cried, Mark. I just felt so overwhelmed that my beautiful country, and I'm old enough to remember the first gun buyback. It's not a buyback. You cannot buy back something you never owned. It was confiscation. I remember 96 because my father was actually disarmed then. And I remember him being very upset. He's a hunter. He's a shooter. We used to go out shooting bunnies and foxes on my grandmother's farm. That's how I grew up. And for him to once again hear the government saying, we are now going to disarm the shooters and hunters of Australia because it was a failure of our intelligence agencies. But I want to make that very clear, that is not getting talked about enough. Our intelligence agency, ASIO, which is like your CIA, had investigated one of these shooters because he was linked to an Islamic extreme group in bloody Sydney. And then the month prior to this attack, the dad and the son went across to a really dodgy part of the Philippines where there's known Islamic extremist groups that do these kind of trainings on how to commit jihad against the infidels, came back to Australia, and then a few weeks later went out and shot these unarmed, defenseless people on my beaches. I cannot even believe. I'm sorry if I get a bit emotional. This is only my second interview talking about it. And for me, the pain is so raw, and I fear this is my generation's 1996. We're going through the same thing we did back then. You cannot, with a straight face, say Australia has the toughest gun laws in the world and that they work after seeing this. And yet they're doing the same thing they did in 96. More restrictions, more buybacks, more rubbish targeting the innocent people, the people who own guns legitimately for our hunting and sporting shooting activities. Now I honestly fear that we will lose the next generation of Australian shooters and hunters because of this preventable incident.
You know, let me take this into the break. And when we come back, I want to expand on this a little bit, because a lot of the mainstream media said, see, it's not necessary to have a gun. We saw an unarmed individual tackle and stop this shooter. Okay, well, we're going to comment on that, ladies and gentlemen, in just a few moments, because what the media didn't tell you is what Kate just did tell you. But we're going to go even farther, because that individual did not fire and kill that terrorist, which he should have done. We discussed that on the program. He had the opportunity to do so. And we'll again, when we come back from the break, we'll talk with Kate about why. But nonetheless, that individual, excuse me, was able to get back in the fight and continue the killing. That wouldn't have happened here. When we come back, Kate Fantinel will tell us more about how and why this was allowed to happen in Australia, and what her fears were when she left, worried about her family. Now we're going to get into some free speech issues as well. There's a lot going on here that we're going to cover. We've got 3 more segments with Kate. And guys, please pay very, very careful attention. If you were listening to the first hour, pay attention to what we heard. Remember back what we were just talking about, what they want to do, what they're going to do and doing in Virginia right now. And what they want for us at a federal level is identical to what's happening in Australia. Don't believe me? They've all said it. We'll be right back. following segment of Armed American Radio is proudly being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Help us defend freedom by visiting nra.org/AAR and join today. Welcome back to the show. Yeah, guys, that's one of the easiest things you can do. It's so simple and it's so cheap to do. It's $35 for a 1-year membership. You know, I don't know what else to tell you. If you're listening to the program, particularly if you heard the first hour, and I want you to pay very careful attention to this hour, because our guest, Kate, understands what happens when guns are taken away from you. And the National Rifle Association is pledged to see that that doesn't happen. It is the oldest civil rights organization in America. $35 for 1 year. Give us 1 year. All right? Join us. This is not the old NRA. This is the new National Rifle Association. The days of Wayne LaPierre, all that nonsense is gone. The new streamlined National Rifle Association is fighting diligently to protect your rights and freedoms. And honestly, because of what occurred, the NRA, has a ways to go. A lot of you, well, I get it, and so do they. A lot of you lost faith. Please come back and understand that this is a new National Rifle Association. We need your help and support. It is the 800-pound gorilla in the room. NRA.org/AAR. The show is presented to you here in the Car Firearms Group studios on this CZ mic at the Patriot Mobile Command Center every single day by the National Rifle Association. And we need you, okay, to join. It's really easy. NRA.org/AAR. And you can find them and all of our great partners at armedamericanradio.com or .org. We've got you covered. Let's go back to Kate. Kate, welcome back. One of the things I wanted to mention before, when you were talking about how you used to shoot bunnies with your dad, I couldn't help but chuckle in my mind because, I can hear triggered liberals now. You shoot bunnies? Yeah, let me tell you something. Guys, my little dog, Huey Riley, little Shih Tzu, there you go. I put her up on the camera so you can see little Huey in her Christmas sweater. She eats bunnies. So here's the deal. Kill them all day long and give them to me. Huey eats bunnies. Huey's real name is Riley, by the way, and she answers to Riley, Riles, Rilebugs, Huey, and or Hoo. So there's little Huey up on the stage. She eats bunnies, and we love that because they're very healthy for her. Kate, welcome back in. It's a pleasure. How are you?
Thanks, mate. Bunnies are a pest in my country. They should never have been introduced, but we're doing God's work protecting our beautiful outback by popping some on the weekend.
I can hear the triggering effect now. I love it. That's why I had to go there. God bless you. And by the way, it's really good for your dogs, ladies and gentlemen, that raw rabbit food. If you haven't tried it yet, that's really good for your pets. So make sure to check that out. Huey loves them. Kate, let's go back to the moment, because the video was horrible. I watched it countless times from all different angles. And you had a very brave individual who interjected himself into the ongoing killing at that bridge that was occurring in real time. This individual, who had a lot of guts, jumped in there and wrestled the gun away from the individual, pointed it at him, but let him go. And the mainstream press in America, a lot of them said, see, the anti-gunners were all out there saying, see, you don't have to have a gun. Well, that guy should have been made dead, and he wasn't. In the United States, he likely would have been shot. I do not believe the killing would have occurred that long in the United States because somebody would have been armed. This was an absolute terror attack. It went on for far too long. So how do you respond to that when the American left and the American media, and I'm sure it happened all over Australia as well, from those who hate our gun rights, say, see, you don't need that gun. How do you respond to that?
Well, it's called the equalizer for a reason. And I've been in the unfortunate circumstance of being in a position where I've had someone break into my house. I'm a trained pistol shooter. I've won competitive shooting for my pistol shooting, and I was not legally allowed to defend myself in my own home. We don't have castle doctrine law back in Australia at all. So when I saw this brave bloke, and just, I'm sure you already know, but prior to that, there was an older couple, a man and a woman, who tried to intervene before the shooters got down there and started popping off these poor people, and they were killed. So then this bloke, Ahmed El Ahmed, I think his name is, to run up and tackle the shooter, disarm the shooter, just absolute bloody legend. He should be the Australian of the Year for that, because a lot of other people might not have even done that. And I spoke to Stephen Williford when I got back from Australia, and he said, if only there was a Texan there who was armed, it would not have gone on that long. If only someone had the tool to go and stop this. So whenever I hear people say, oh, see, you don't need guns, you can just go and tackle them, that bloke is lucky he didn't die.
Yeah,
he could have sacrificed his life.
He is very lucky. In fact, he took so much risk. From what I understand, he's the parent of an 8-year-old child. This could have turned out far worse for him. And God bless him for intervening. However, the individual who he took the gun away from was the father, was able to get back to that bridge because he wasn't killed by this brave individual and get back in and begin the killing all over again. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, if your thoughts on firearms are such that you're okay with continued killing because guns are bad and those people, I don't know, Kate, how do you get through to somebody like that? If you have a conversation with one of your fellow countrymen who says, yeah, but guns are all bad, they're never the answer. How do you respond to that? Or for that matter, are you even allowed to talk about that? Let's get into the free speech issue here as well. We're going there. We might as well segue all together. Go for it.
Well, I hope I don't think I'll be able to return to my country ever again after this. With the new, we can talk about the hate speech laws they're bringing in. But my response to, you don't need a gun to defend yourself. Okay, well, look at the response of the police who showed up 9 minutes into this incident occurring. The Bondi police station is 2 minutes up the road. 9 minutes it took them to show up. And then you see visions of them cowering behind vehicles, not getting in the fight. And the reason for that as well, I believe, is the police in Australia, they don't have mandatory range days. They don't have to go and practice with their firearms a certain number of times a year. We, the people, do. As a pistol shooter, I have to shoot at least 6 times a year at an approved range and get signed off in order to keep my license.
Unreal.
And if I own more than one handgun, I have to shoot an additional 4 times for every other gun I own. But the police don't have mandatory minimum range requirements. And so you saw them. You saw they were deer in headlights. They did not know what to do. So if you're going to say the only people who can have guns and can open carry in Australia is the police and the security guards for the elite and the military, and then you fail to keep your people safe when we need you, I'm sorry, but the social contract is broken. Give me the responsibility to look after myself and my family and my property, whatever means necessary. If you don't want to use a firearm, if you just want pepper spray, at least give us the option so we can be responsible for our own safety, because the Australian government have just shown to the world they are not keeping us safe, and their response is to ban more of the guns from we the people, another buyback, more laws about what we can say online. It's a dystopian nightmare. I felt very nervous the whole time I was back in Australia, and I don't think I will ever go back. And I'm happy to stay in the United States for the rest of my life, because this is the best country on earth. You've got the best values, the best liberty. This is where it was born. We have never had to fight for our freedoms in Australia. We're still part of the bloody Commonwealth. So America, to me, best country in the world.
I hope you heard that, ladies and gentlemen. Pay very careful attention to the words you just heard from Kate Fantinel. We'll be right back. We've got 2 more segments to go and a lot of questions. It's just going to get more intense as we continue the conversation. You will not believe what's going on, and I'll close the segment with this. Your prime minister is an idiot. We will be back right after this. Don't go away. This segment of Armed American Radio is proudly being brought to you by Blackout Coffee. Visit them at blackoutcoffee.com/AAR. Grab that discount and free shipping. Welcome back to the show. Yeah, welcome back, guys. Armed American Radio's Monster Cast well underway. We are halfway down this 3-hour broadcast right now as we return from this break here in the Car Firearms Group studios. We appreciate you and all of our affiliates around the country for being here. Greg in Dallas, I could use a cup of hot Blackout coffee right now. It is cold outside here in North Georgia and kind of strange. Snowing like crazy south of us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is weird.
Yeah, that's weird, especially in Georgia.
North Florida and South Central Georgia are getting
what is
pounded
going
on? I don't know. It's that whole, Al Gore global warming nonsense, I guess, right? Snowing south of me. It's strange. Anyway, welcome back, guys. Make sure to check out blackoutcoffee.com, blackoutcoffee.com. Start your day the way we do here at the Armed American Radio studio. And you can find Blackout at blackoutcoffee.com/AAR. Beautiful website over there for us. And visit them. Grab some coffee. They donate to every single major gun rights organization in the country. Every time you buy coffee, you get better coffee at a better price than you'll get from a grocery store. It's fresh, it's roasted, and it comes right to your door immediately. We get it delivered every month here at the house. You can do the same thing. Visit blackoutcoffee.com for some great deals over there. There's a program going. I think you've got till the rest of the day today, maybe tomorrow, 50% off any of the flavored coffee. So if you like that, it's all available for you at blackoutcoffee.com. Let's get back here to our guest, Kate Fantinel, Australian. Wonderful talking to you, Kate. Thank you for being here today. So much ground to cover with you. Let me go back to what you said, because I think a lot of Americans, here in the United States, we have a right to defend our lives. Somebody kicks your door in, you have a right to blow them into tomorrow. And nobody really questions that here. You've got some dopes out there that think that you should be charged with murder for killing criminals, but those people are few and far between. They're the blue hair, purple hair weirdos that just seem to not get anything. But they're a very small minority in this country. Most Americans understand and appreciate that if you break into someone's home, well, too bad for you. You should have picked another line of work. When a law-abiding citizen defends themselves with a firearm in this country, and we've covered thousands of them over 18 years on this program, we call that a happy ending story. Not because the criminal may have been killed. That's not why it's happy. It's happy because the good guy is alive and celebrated for doing so. We celebrate that action here in the U.S. That's not the same in Australia, though, is it? You mentioned that you don't have a castle doctrine. So what happens if you're sitting home alone with your elderly parents, your door gets kicked in, because I assume there are criminals in Australia, just like there are everywhere else, and you use a firearm to defend yourself? What happens, Kate? Educate us in America, please.
Oh, you'd be thrown in jail for life if you used your firearm like that. You just can't. And like I said before, being in that situation where I know how to use my firearm and I could have defended myself, instead I was hurt and had to wait for the cops to show up. This is what I mean by a nation of defenseless victims. It is obscene that our government treats us like we are victims. We do not have a Bill of Rights like you do. Our Constitution, the Australian Constitution, does not give us any rights at all. The only rights it specifically says is in relation to freedom of movement between the states and territories. But when there's a declared emergency, and I found out the hard way during the pandemic, we do not have that right. So I was stuck behind the border in Western Australia for 2.5 years, could not travel outside of my state in my own country. The other right that is implied is the right to political expression and communication. Now, I'm not sure if you saw the Candace Owens case. She wanted to come down under and give a speaking tour. Her visa was rejected. So she went to the High Court of Australia to challenge it on the grounds of freedom of political expression and communication, which is in the Constitution, and her visa was still denied. So we do not have the First Amendment, it's the Second Amendment like you do here. And I've had this argument with so many Australians to say these rights are not given to you by the government. It's from God above, or whoever you believe in. They are inalienable rights. The government should at least acknowledge that we, the people, have those rights. But it's not even a conversation in Australia. We don't have groups like Second Amendment Foundation, Gun Owners of America, but NRA, who advocate on the basis and principle of rights. No organisation does that in Australia. So we have a very long way to go. I would love to see out my country, my old country now. America is my home now. I would love to see my country become a republic because we're still part of the Commonwealth, like Canada, like New Zealand.
Mhm.
If we had our own constitution written by the people, for the people like you, then we would be having a much different conversation, and we would have that ability. The right to life extends to the right to defend your life. I don't think that's a controversial thing to say, but in Australia, that could be seen as hate speech, because does that mean, is that a threat of violence? Well, if someone's committing violence against me, we only have this equal force law. So if someone breaks in with a cricket bat, I can legally only pick up a cricket bat. If they break up in with a gun, can't use it. That's how it works.
Okay, so it's not equal force then, is it? No, it's what the government says. You know, I think you answered your own question. There's a reason you will never become a republic. There is a reason that they will not recognize the rights that we recognize here. There's a reason that they won't tell you that these rights come from God, because it takes away their power. And when they have power, they can control you. Now, as I close out that last segment with your prime minister's an idiot, this guy jumped to more gun control within minutes. The blood wasn't dry on the beach, and he was screaming for more gun control in Australia. Now, how do most Australians feel about that? You get a sense. Is this something that you can even feel comfortable talking about in Australia, or are you worried about you might be persecuted or even prosecuted for having these conversations?
Oh, absolutely. I was terrified when I was home.
That's horrible.
Because I've got quite an online presence. Surprisingly, I've been cancelled, shut down, censored, all that kind of thing has happened to me for talking about guns in Australia. It's a bit of a risk to even talk about this subject. But for me, it's my passion. It's my community where I grew up. I'm proud to be the daughter of a hunter. I'm proud to be an advocate for self-defense, especially for women. I love that you have Dr. John Lott Jr. on your show talking about how it's dangerous for women to act passive when we're confronted with someone trying to attack us. But that's what the government tells us to do in Australia: act passive, run and hide. We can't live like this anymore. Like you said, the blood wasn't even bloody dry, and Albo's out there doing what we did in '96, the same playbook, when it obviously didn't work back then. But he's using, the problem in Australia is we've been propagandized to believe all guns are bad. They're not necessary to have in a civilized society. So a lot of Australians haven't made the link that firearms are a symbol of liberty. That's how I see it. It's the equalizer. They're here to stay. You can't blow up all of them or destroy all of them. We have to have a mature conversation about this. And it's just not even part of the conversation. Self-defense was not even mentioned, apart from me, as a solution to what happened at Bondi.
You're right, that is part of the conversation. I would have loved to have had this conversation with Piers Morgan back in the day, and I was asked to be on the BBC with him. And because of personal issues, being my wife going through breast cancer and chemo treatments, I was unable to be on the show. But I wanted to have this conversation with him. Here's why. Because the conversation doesn't start with taking guns away. The conversation starts by being honest that there are 500 million guns in this country that aren't going anywhere. That's where the conversation needs to start. Okay. Now, Australia, that doesn't even seem to be a part of the conversation. If your prime minister could unilaterally take every single gun, would they go door to door and do that? And with 30 seconds that we have left, do you think that's what they want to do? And could that actually happen there? I mean, go kick doors in and take them. Real quick, 20 seconds. We'll continue the conversation when we come back.
Yes, because we have mandatory registration of all firearms in Australia. They brought that in after '96, so they know where we live, and they are going door to door right now in Australia. That's
when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to talk about with Kate. And I also want to talk about, she had mentioned to me in our phone call about fear of her family because of her online social presence and her free speech, which she enjoys here in the United States, and how that can have implications and ramifications in Australia. We're not talking about Tehran, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about Sydney, Australia. Think about it. And the Democrats praise it. What does that tell you? We'll be back. One more segment with Kate. Don't go away. for you here in just a moment. We're talking with Kate Fantinel from Australia. Kate, welcome back in. When I listen to you, I'm saddened, and I have to ask this question. Are you working on obtaining your U.S. citizenship?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. I do not want to leave America ever again. And Texas too. I live in San Antonio. The culture there. Stephen Williford is one of my neighbors, such a good bloke. I feel like I'm an American trapped in an Aussie woman's body because I just agree with your values. And to me, that's a big part of the problem we have with immigration in Australia is we are not letting the people who share our values into our country. And so I'm very scared, not just the next generation of Australian shooters and hunters, but the next generation of Australians. It's Fabian socialism to me, Albanese, all of the left-wing government we have. Mm-hmm. This is what they do. They are Fabian socialists. They've changed our culture through over-regulation, stripping away guns from people who genuinely need them, our farmers as well. They're all up in arms, figuratively speaking, about these laws because we will not be able to have access to the tools that we need. Well, we can't even have sound suppressors. They're illegal in Australia too. So we have a long way to go before we can turn my country around. And it is heartbreaking, and I've been quite emotional talking about it because, like I said at the start, I never thought I would see the day that we would see those things on one of our sacred sites.
Is it, you mentioned that they are going door to door now. And ladies and gentlemen, I've lost count how many times we've talked to you about registration leading to confiscation. We know that to be the case. That's why they want guns registered in the United States so that they know where they are. You've had virtually every Democrat politician admiring Australia's gun laws. Kamala Harris did it in the previous campaign. Hillary Clinton did it. They've all done it. They all admire what Australians are going through right now because that's what the Democrat Party has. The first hour of the program, we talked about what's happening in the state of Virginia. And it's very disheartening, and it's why we fight every single day. The confiscation aspect of this is very frightening. The thought that Australian authorities are going door to door is extremely scary. Tell me is that actually what's happening right now?
That is happening in my home state of Western Australia. They were the first state that brought in limits on the number of firearms you can own. So now we have arbitrary limits on the number of individual firearms someone can own. So if you exceed that limit, they have your name. They know where your guns are stored. The Western Australian going, and I've heard from a few people back home about this, saying we just don't have any right to fight back. We don't have, like, your Second Amendment against tyrannical government. That's what it's about at the end of the day. That's not even a conversation we can even have. And even me saying that would get me in trouble back home. We just do not have the rights that you have here.
You were worried when we spoke a couple days back that when you were worried about going, but you were worried about leaving your family behind because of your beliefs and your social media. What was the biggest fear? I mean, as I mentioned when we were coming out of break, we're not talking about Tehran here, ladies and gentlemen, or North Korea. We're talking about Australia. What were you concerned about? What fear did you have for your family after you left, or still have today, I guess?
Well, my father, he's the one who taught me how to shoot and hunt, and he's got quite a collection of firearms that he wants to pass down to me. And so to see him going through what he went through back in 1996 when this happened the first time, just terrified that he's retired now, he's been a teacher his whole life, law-abiding person, for him to have police come and take his firearms to me, that the image in my mind, and I'm Italian background, so my nonno escaped fascist Italy for our family to live free in Australia. And he always warned about things like this. We heard the horror stories of how the government disarmed the people. That's how it always starts. It is the road to tyranny starts with civilian disarmament. And so I am genuinely terrified about what my country will look like in 10 years' time. I don't think I will recognise it. I didn't recognise it when I went back for Chrissy. And it's just heartbreaking to think, because there are a lot of Australians who just want to be left alone. We had a very laid back, like Steve Irwin, Crocodile Dundee, those kinds of characters, that's still there. But because of the government and the Fabian socialism and the open borders we have with parts of the world like India who don't share our values, it's completely being destroyed in front of my very eyes. And that's why I would do anything I can in America to make sure you do not lose your Second Amendment and your First Amendment. Whatever the Democrats say, whatever, get me in front of them and I'm telling you now, we cannot let the United States fall. We've already lost the UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
This is the last place on earth where people can truly live free. And I will defend that until my dying breath.
God bless you. It's so refreshing to hear. Before we come to the end of this program, I'm going to ask you on live air right now. Promise me you'll come back as a regular guest.
Oh, I would love to, Mark.
Good.
Thanks for giving me the opportunity to have a yarn with you. You're a great bloke when I met you in Salt Lake City. I remember I said to you, Australia is a paradise ruled by parasites. And I think we can both agree on that today.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, ladies and gentlemen. And honest to God, when I hear this, it really, truly does. It saddens me to my core. I've never been personally to Australia. I know a lot of people who have, and it's a very beautiful place. But guys, so is California, and I have no desire to ever go back again. You know, it's just very sad. I don't know. What's your message? Because we are being listened to in Australia. What is your message to Australian citizens right now?
Don't give up hope. We've heard stories like this in the past history where tyrannical governments win for a period of time. Don't become black-pilled, as the youth say it. Keep up the hope, and it's by having conversations.
How do we run guns to Aussies?
Don't have the First Amendment, and they're bringing on all these hate speech laws, and that's what I'm very concerned about. My personal risk talking about this. But someone has to have the conversation, and that's how you change people's minds, by talking to them about guns. And a lot of times, Mark, people who have a fear of guns have never even been to the range, never even handled a firearm. You take them and you show them, and a lot of people join our side. Yeah. So that's the kind of thing we can do that here. We have the freedom to do that here. We can't do that in Australia anymore.
How long before you become a citizen? Did you mention that? What's the time frame? I'm just curious.
As soon as possible.
Okay, that's good enough. You can leave it at that. You know, I do have one question. We're getting ready to end this hour. You will come back as a regular guest. I hope. I love you on the program, and it's a pleasure talking to you. Have you ever taken anyone to the range who said to you, "That sucked. I never want to do that again"? I think I know the answer to that question.
Never.
Exactly, because it never happens. Where can people find you on social media? Throw it out there right now, X and everywhere else. We've got just a few seconds. Go for it.
So Lady Liberty Australia is what I go by online. You can find me on X, and my YouTube channel is Shooting the Breeze with Lady Liberty Australia. Shooting the Breeze with Lady Liberty Australia. Kate, thank you. Wonderful talking to you. Thank you for being here. You're going to have a great time in Vegas. I'm going to miss you. I'm sorry I'm not going to be there this week, but have a great time. You and I will talk throughout the week, and guys, we're going to bring her back as soon as possible. Kate, have a wonderful time in Vegas. Glad you're here. Welcome home. Let me put it that way. Guys, we'll be back with a roundtable right after the break, 6 minutes after.
You just filled your prescription for freedom with Mark Walters, presented by the National Rifle Association. The National Rifle Association on the Armed American Radio Network.
Guys, that's some eye-popping shit right there. I mean, it really, truly is. We're not on FCC-controlled airwaves right now. I wish I could talk like that when we're on air, because Angry Mark would come out of the box on a regular basis. But, you know, when you juxtapose what you heard from Kate, and not just what's happening in Australia, but her fears for her own family, for simply being a gun owner and exercising her rights here in the United States of America. And God bless her for getting her citizenship here. God bless her. I hope the process moves quickly for her. I don't know that her family can leave. We'll talk about that with her at a later time. But nonetheless, when you juxtapose what you just heard about what's happening down there in reality from someone who lives it and knows it, compare that to what we're talking about in the first hour about what the Democrats have in store for you in Virginia. This is what they want for you. They want door kickers going door to door to take your guns. That's the natural outgrowth of what they want. And if they continue to maintain power, that's their end game. We know it, you know it, I know it, they know it. And every once in a while, they'll come out and say the quiet part out loud. Gabby Giffords just did it a few months back in 2025. Yeah, guns. Yeah, we need to get rid of all guns. That's what she said. Now, I'm sure somebody quieted her down about that because she hasn't mentioned it again. You know, the Bloombergs with all the money. But nonetheless, that's an eye-popping conversation with her. I hope you enjoyed that very much. We'll hear a lot from Kate on the program. I can promise you she's a top-notch, wonderful person. When we come back from this break, we're going to take a quick break right now at 6 minutes after a classic Armed American Radio Roundtable. CEO of Car Arms, Justin Moon, will be here. Parkland father, Ryan Petty, who lost his beautiful daughter, Elena, in Parkland in 2018, a regular on the panel, will be here. And, of course, Brad Primo, former combat vet and former law enforcement officer, will be here as well. And we'll kind of try to tie all of these things together for you. And whatever else we can squeeze in the hour, the roundtable is always a good one. For those of you that are new here, thank you for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, follow us on X, follow us over on Facebook. It's really simple. Just click the button. It's huge for our social media as we begin to take that back now. If you're watching on YouTube, please do the same thing. Subscribe to us over there. It doesn't cost anything to do that. Subscribe. It helps us with the algorithm, and we're seeing some good growth over there, but we need you to do it. Facebook.com/Armed American Radio, 80,000 of you over there. We appreciate that. And X, help us grow our following over there. And if you like this, please share it on your social media platforms as well. And please go out of your way to visit all of our great partners. You can find them all at armedamericanradio.com. That includes Barrel Buddy, clean your guns the right way with patented technology. Pitch the patch, get rid of it. Those days are done. You don't need that anymore. There's real stuff for you to clean your guns. 2 swipes. You can do it at the range with a Barrel Buddy. Put the gun right back in your holster. It's clean. Or you can put it right back in your range bag and take it home. All right. It's really, really simple to do. BarrelBuddy.com. You can also, if you visit BarrelBuddy.com, use the promo code AAR, you can also become an affiliate over there and make some money by selling those things over to your other partners and friends at the range as well. Check out Patriots Relief. I poured that stuff all over my shoulder this morning when I woke up. I use that stuff every day. It's patriotsrelief.com, patriotsrelief.com. Fantastic products over there. Of course, Crossbreed holsters. They'll be at SHOT Show. Carr will be at SHOT Show. CZ will be there, and many, many others. They're all available for you, including Blackout Coffee, the National Rifle Association, and, of course, the biggest no-brainer of all is this right here, Attorneys on Retainer. Attorneys on Retainer. If you carry a firearm for self-defense, put an attorney in your back pocket for $37 a month. If you multiply 37 times 12, the total cost for a year is less than 1 hour of a self-defense attorney. And God forbid you ever need an attorney. You're going to want one. You can't do it after the fact. You wind up mortgaging your house and going broke in the process when you could have had it for $37. And when you do that, not only does it help you tremendously, it also supports Armed American Radio and bringing you these programs to you on live national radio. For those of you that are new, this is not a podcast. This is a live nationally syndicated talk radio program named in 2025 by the Bible of Talk Radio, talkersmagazine.com, to the Heavy 100. We are a Heavy 100 talk radio, 100 most important talk radio hosts and shows in America. We will be back after the break. That break, of course, is for the networks to do all their fun stuff, or I should say the local station affiliates across the country to advertise their local sponsors as well. We'll be back in about 4 minutes. Don't go away. Thanks for tuning in.
Armed American Radio.
If they want to take my guns, they're going to have to bring a station wagon and a whole lot of friends because I'm not giving them anything.
From the Car Firearms Group studio at the Patriot Mobile Communication Center. Proudly presented to you by the National Rifle Association. National Rifle Association. Here is your host of Armed American Radio, the loudest conservative voice in America fighting for your rights, Mark Walters.
Oh, good heavens, ladies and gentlemen. Third hour of Armed American Radio's national radio broadcast. We refer to it as the Monster Cast is now underway. The previous 2 hours are in the tank. We are live for you here in the Car Firearms Group studio on hundreds of radio stations across the nation, as well as our social media platforms. Several thousand of you are enjoying watching the broadcast right now, and we appreciate that so much. Greg in Dallas, Texas, welcome into the Car Firearms Group studios. The CZ mic is lit up at the Patriot Command Center. Of course, it's all being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. We're live on Facebook for you, facebook.com/Armed American Radio. Like us over there. Please follow us and join the other 80,000 fans who do. Greg in Dallas, how you doing, my brother?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Here we are. Hour number 3 came right up on us quick.
Man, and an eye-popping 2 hours previous, wasn't it? Wow.
Yeah, two great hours.
2 great hours of national radio for you, ladies and gentlemen. The first hour, we spoke about what is now happening in Virginia, and we're going to talk with the Roundtable crew about that coming up because it is nothing short of, well, the Californication and now the Virginianization of Californication. It's just mind-boggling what is happening.
The Democrats are coming. The Democrats are coming.
And Ryan Petty always tells us what? The Democrats will never what, Greg?
They will never stop.
I'm sure we're going to hear that from him in just a few moments. Guys, talking with Kate in the previous hour about what's happening in Australia, we're going to go into that in depth here as well with our crew. We've got Justin Moon, CEO of Car Arms, on the line. Brad Primo, former law enforcement officer and combat vet. He has been in the trenches. He has fought for this nation. We're going to talk with him about all these things. And, of course, Parkland father Ryan Petty. But before we do that, Greg, if you would be kind enough to tell people where to watch the program outside of Facebook.com and give them the chat, and we'll go from there, and then we'll get this party started.
Sure, you can head over to YouTube and search for Armed American Radio with Mark Walters, or you can head over to armedamericanradio.org or .com, hit that menu icon and select your watch live or listen live option. If you want to watch us over on X, you can find us at AAR Mark. And lastly, if you'd like to join our live chat, just download Telegram, create your profile, and search for Armed American Radio Conversations.
Yeah, guys, you can also chat in any of those other forums, and we see them here. Okay, and if some of them are, we'll maybe put the live chat up later. If you guys want to get involved in the chat, you can do that. Greg, and I want to say this really for Justin Moon's sake, because sadly at the last moment I had to pull out of going to the Shooting, Hunting, and Outdoor Trade Show this week for personal reasons. And 26 years I've been going to the SHOT Show, and this is the first year outside of COVID that I'm unable to go. But that was for personal family reasons. I had to stay home. I felt obliged to stay here for a number of reasons. But let's go to Justin Moon, CEO of Car Arms first. Justin, how are you? I know you're traveling, and I know you're probably in Vegas or on your way to Vegas. I'm going to miss you. Sadly, I'm unable to go, but I'll talk to you outside of that later over the coming couple days. Justin, welcome to the program, brother. Are you in Vegas right now, or are you on your way?
I'm in Vegas.
Yeah, I'm going to miss you over the next couple days, man. One of my highlights of going to Vegas is to hang out with Justin and see all the cool stuff they've got going on, because Justin's the real deal. Justin, welcome in, brother, and I guess welcome to Las Vegas. Ryan Petty, Parkland dad, you're here with us. How are you, my friend?
Mark, I'm doing well from freezing or nearly freezing Florida.
It's snowing south of me, and
what is up with that?
I don't know. It's cold though, man. It's one of those deals where you turn the heat on in the studio and it's so cold out, when you shut it off, it stays on until it gets to its temperature. Ryan, we'll have some fun talking about that in a few minutes. And of course, Brad Primo, combat vet and former law enforcement officer. Brad, welcome into the roundtable. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing great, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing good. I got to kind of keep Angry Mark in check today, guys. The first hour of the program I took solo today. Gave a lot of people the day off. A lot of people, of course, are traveling to Vegas like Justin is. And I spent the hour going over the bills in great detail that the Democrats have put forth in Virginia, Brad. And I'll start with you. It's a mess. Virginia is an absolute mess. And let's just start with a couple of these bills, because the Democrats are going absolutely haywire in Virginia. The Democrats are what, Greg? The Democrats are what?
The Democrats are coming. The Democrats are coming.
The Democrats are coming. That's from the great AAR, Brad, and I know you know that. So let's just cover a couple of these. Now in Virginia, Brad, Delegate McClure, a Democrat, HB 19, makes battery in a dating relationship a misdemeanor and takes away the right to purchase, possess, or transport a firearm for 3 years. Misdemeanor, Greg, or Brad. That means it's never going to stop because traffic tickets are misdemeanors. At some point in time, the Democrats are going to reach that low, aren't they?
I mean, Mark, has been this way for years, though. I mean, the Lautenberg Amendment on the federal level, strips you of your constitutional right to own firearms, and domestic assault in many states is a misdemeanor. It is in Tennessee, and so and Lautenberg was a Democrat, so it's been this way for quite a while. And keep in mind that in many states, assault can be verbal. You don't even have to put hands on somebody or hurt somebody. You just have to put them in fear. So you can literally have a heated argument with somebody you've been in a relationship with, or you can call the cops and say you put them in fear. As most states now also have language in their domestic assault, domestic battery laws that state that the officer shall arrest. So the officer doesn't even have discretion in that situation to not arrest somebody. And so, Virginia just probably is catching up with other places. This is nothing new.
I'm glad you pointed that out as former law enforcement. We hear the term assault and battery all the time. They are separate. Assault is a verbal threat. Battery is physical. Brad, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it varies from state to state. I mean, Tennessee doesn't differentiate between assault and battery. Assault is either putting someone in fear of bodily harm or actually doing bodily harm to them. Some states separate it, but nonetheless, the crime of domestic assault in most states can actually be you verbally threatening somebody, saying, "Hey, I'm gonna smack you," or taking somebody in fear, and that's enough to catch a charge in a lot of places.
Brandish a firearm on someone and not touch them, depending on the circumstances, is considered aggravated assault and punishable in the state of Georgia by 20 years mandatory. Other states, it's 3. It varies state by state. Justin Moon, let's go over to you, my friend. Justin, we have talked about in the roundtable really since the election what was coming to Virginia. Now we know, we covered a bunch of these bills. They want to attack, again, the firearms industry. You're the CEO of Car Arms. Delegate Helmer, who has 3 separate bills, a Democrat, HB 21, HB 24, and he's got another, but HB 21 states it allows one of the most highly regulated industries, the firearms industry, to be sued civilly for a variety of already illegal actions, Justin. It also holds the manufacturers and sellers of even the most benign or firearms accessories like a buttstock or gun case liable to a civil lawsuit if it doesn't properly protect that item for theft or misuse by a criminal. Justin, should Car Arms be held liable for the criminal misuse of a stock? And now VCDL makes the following. How could a firearm accessory seller reasonably know if they were selling a gun sling to a prohibited person? And the analogy here, Justin, is how could a firearm accessory be something that you would have to, they use the analogy here, should a car parts store be sued if they sold a seat cover for a car that was used in a bank robbery? Justin, they just won't quit, brother. When does it end?
Well, thanks for the federal law protecting lawful commerce in arms. But I mean, that's exactly why we need the federal law, because all of these states are making these goofy laws which have no bearing on actual strict liability of responsible persons. So that's the problem. We got to get back to making the criminals and individuals responsible for the crimes, not the people who make lawful products.
Which you do, by the way. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, constitutionally protected lawful products, I might add. See the Second Amendment. Let me read it to you because it's tattooed on my arm. A well-regulated militia. That's you, ladies and gentlemen. And regulated doesn't mean government-controlled. It means in fine-tuned working order. See 18th century Oxford English. Should you want to learn that on your own, you can do so. Being necessary to the security of a free state here, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It's right here, okay? And you're absolutely correct about that. They're trying desperately to water down the PLCAA, the Protection of Lawful Commerce and Arms Act, Justin. through all of these nonsense bills by any means possible. When we come back from this break, we're going to carry the conversation over to Ryan Petty, who is very well versed in this, because while he is not a manufacturer, he is also an FFL holder. That's a federal firearms licensee holder. So he understands this discussion intimately. We'll go to Ryan Petty when we come back. We've got a lot of ground to cover. Unfortunately, time gets away from us quick in this hour. It always does. So buckle your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen. This hour is going to fly by. I'm warning you in advance. It always does. We'll cover as much ground as we can with the crew. CEO of Car Arms, Justin Moon, former law enforcement and combat vet Brad Primo, and Parkland father Ryan Petty, who will be coming up next to join the conversation. Don't go away. We'll be right back with the roundtable. Thanks for being here.
The Democrats.
following segment of Armed American Radio is proudly being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Help us defend freedom by visiting nra.org/AAR and join today. Welcome back to the show. Yeah, welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Walters filling your prescription for freedom here in the Car Firearms Group studios. The CZ mic is fired up for you here at the Patriot Mobile Command Center Ranch. And of course, it's all being brought to us by the National Rifle Association. So please help us, please. We need your support if you live in Virginia, particularly anywhere in behind that blue wall. It's critical, mission critical, that you join us at NRA. It's $35, guys, for 1 year. That's all we're asking for. If you want to go 3-year, 5-year life, you can do that and still save a bunch of money. And we would appreciate that very much. We need your help and we need your support. And when you hear this conversation about what's happening in Virginia, you don't need to live in Virginia to understand why we're talking about this, because this is proof positive that if the Democrats ever gain control in a trifecta in Washington, what you're seeing in Virginia, what we're discussing right now, is what they have in store for you. And if you were listening to the previous hour, every single Democrat in power has praised Australia for their gun control, which is nothing short of confiscation. In fact, Kate Fantinel, who was just bringing us the hour with her here from Vegas, was telling us what they were doing. They are confiscating guns in Australia right now. And every major Democrat politician in a position of power has praised Australia's gun control. Kamala Harris did it. Hillary Clinton did it. Barack Obama did it. Joe Biden did it. It's what the Democrats want. The National Rifle Association is the first step we can take in fighting this nonsense as the 800-pound gorilla in the room. And it's easy to join, nra.org/AAR. Ryan Petty, welcome back, my friend, here on a Classic Armed American Radio Roundtable. It's great to have you here, brother.
Great to be here tonight, Mark.
So, Ryan, you know, we're talking about Virginia. We're going to keep talking about Virginia because it's so important. And you heard just a couple tidbits of what the Democrats have in store. They have more: restricting concealed handgun permit recognition with other states. Virginia now today recognizes all states. That's about to change. Senator Carol Foy wants to regulate the industry, being sued civilly. It's a second person. It's a separate bill, but they both go hand in hand. Senator Favola, Democrat, requires a person with a protective order against them or a person with a domestic violence conviction to surrender, sell, or turn their guns over to someone 21 years old or older and someone who does not live with them. Requires that person be advised that if a police officer believes they have not turned over all their guns, that the officer can get a search warrant to look for any such guns. They want to go after unfinished firearm frames and receivers and unserialized commercially made firearms unlawful to possess. They're going to do this. Purchase, sell, or transfer unless they're serialized. They're going to do all of this. Everything we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is going to pass in Virginia. Everything we're talking about is going to pass, and it will likely be signed, sadly. $500 civil penalty, Ryan, and subjecting a vehicle to towing if a person leaves a handgun in an unattended vehicle. So, the nonsense is never ending. And you famously said on the program, the left will never what?
They'll never stop.
What does this tell us?
A couple of things come to mind. One is that the playbook was written in Australia, a decade ago, or maybe a little bit more. And that playbook now the left has brought to the U.S. and they're trying it out. They're doing a test run in Virginia. And as Virginia goes, so goes Democrats in other states across the nation. And what they'll do, while they may not be able to get everything passed in other states that they're attempting to pass in Virginia, and let's be honest, quite frankly, probably are going to pass and get signed by the governor because they control the trifecta in Virginia. Every idea they try there will be tried by Democrats across the country. Mark my words.
So we're seeing Virginia now Californicated, I like to say that, Brad. You heard Ryan say a test case. Is it a test case? Yeah, it is in that sense, except they're doing it, Brad. And this, to watch the Democrats just go absolutely haywire bonkers when given positions of power when it comes to our gun rights in violation of every constitutional ruling we've had at the Supreme Court, and they just don't care, Brad. It's not really a test run, is it? It's a run, isn't it? Brad? You got your Brad?
He might be on mute.
Brad might be on. There we go. There he is. There he is.
Sorry about that.
It's a run. It's not really a test. It's a run. Yeah. And we know this is what they want nationwide, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're just doing an end run on civil rights, and it's what they do. I mean, if you can say anything, I don't even say it's positive about the Democrats, but if you can say anything about them that maybe I'm a little bit envious of, is that they have no qualms and no hesitation about using power when they get it. The Republicans, I wish they were just as gung ho as the Democrats were when it comes to using the power that they're given when they get elected. The Democrats, they see when they get elected, they see winning elections as their permission slip to go absolutely hog wild with anything that they want to do, and that's what they try to do every time, everywhere they get in power. It's not a secret. They don't even try to hide it. It's not a secret. So, Virginia, yeah, like it's no surprise what they're doing. I mean, California is the leader in all of this. Virginia is going to be the California of the East Coast, and you're right. I mean, look for Democrats in every other state that hasn't already gone completely off the reservation, which I don't know if there are any, but if there are some, that it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I mean, like just keep watching.
Yeah, the foreshadowing here is unbelievable. Justin Moon, CEO of CAR Arms. There are some bills that the Virginia Citizens Defense League strongly supports that have been filed in the state of Virginia. Here's one by Republican Senator Diggs. Raises the mandatory minimum sentence for a repeat violent predator who uses a firearm in commission of a violent crime from 5 years to 10 years. Here's another one. Exempting highway rest areas from the state agency gun ban because, as you know, rest areas are not even remotely considered a sensitive government building. Rest areas are open to the public 24/7 and have no assigned security guards for the most part. Only two other states, Illinois and New York, have a ban in rest areas. Since this gun ban on rest areas has been in place in Virginia, 4 people were shot in a rest area on I-81. People have been stabbed at rest stops. According to the website used by the Virginia State Police for criminal stats, there were 66 rest area crimes in 2020, 57 in 2021, 82 in 2022, 69 in 2023, and 60 in 2024. Those crimes include aggravated assault, negligent manslaughter, kidnapping, abduction, forcible rape, forcible sodomy, and forcible fondling in a rest area. Justin, the Democrats are soft on crime and coddling criminals like crazy. How much do you want to bet that one doesn't fly? Will it, Justin?
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right, Mark. The Democrats have always been the pro-crime party. I mean, just look at what they're doing in Minnesota with all that fraud. I mean, they are criminals, so they definitely do want to protect their own kind.
And by the way, guys, Justin is really good at getting into my mind because we are going to go to Minnesota in just a couple of minutes when we come back from the break. Because I want to remind you, while it's the Democrats coming after you in the state of Virginia and everywhere they hold power, that's what Democrats do, is come after your constitutional rights. It's all Democrats creating violence in Minnesota. They're all Democrats, ladies and gentlemen. It's pretty clear that the Democrat Party is the party of political violence. And when we come back, I'm going to read you something from a Facebook post from one of those Dems right after the messages, or right after these messages. Don't go away. Still in here with you guys. The next half hour is going to blow right by. I'm just giving you fair warning, okay? If you're new to the show, it's just going to whip right by. You'll blink and it'll be gone. But yeah, we're going to go to Minnesota with the crew here in just a moment. And I've got I believe it was a Facebook post. We'll pull that up here during the break that I want to read to you about just how violent the Democrats are. Remember, these are Democrats in Minnesota creating havoc and violence on federal law enforcement agents for doing one thing and one thing only, getting criminals off their own city streets, and they can't stand it. Ask yourself why. We'll be right back, guys. About a minute and a half, guys.
Minute 10.
What's temperature over there in Dallas right now, Greg? Your mic's live, by the way.
Uncertain. Let me look. I think 46 degrees.
If you had an iPhone, you could say, "Hey Siri, what's the temperature?"
I can ask Google, but I just had to look over at my browser here on the computer and then get my eyeballs to focus on the temperature.
Colder than a blank here, man.
Cold enough.
Cold is as cold does, right? Guys, thanks for being with us on the live stream today. Please like, share, subscribe. If you don't get the Armed American Radio podcast, please subscribe to it on your favorite podcast platform. Never miss 6 days of Armed American Radio on your favorite podcast platform. We've been there for 18 years podcasting for you, putting this show up as a podcast after it's over. Welcome back. This segment of Armed American Radio is proudly being brought to you by Blackout Coffee. Visit them at blackoutcoffee.com/AAR. Grab that discount and free shipping. Welcome back to the show. Yeah, get a discount. Blackoutcoffee.com/AAR. I would love to have a strong cup of Blackout coffee right now. But, well, I might be up too late. But they also have decaf if you want that, folks. Blackoutcoffee.com/AAR. Take advantage of the great discounts. And I think the 50% is still available for you. You can find it on the website, blackoutcoffee.com/AAR. You can find it there. But I believe the flavored coffee is still 50% off. So grab it while you can if that's your bag. My wife likes that stuff. I kind of do too from time to time. I'm the foo-foo guy with coffee. I put cream and sweetener in my coffee. I can't drink it black. Can if I have to, have before, but only when necessary. Blackout Coffee's got you covered, guys. Great partner of Armed American Radios. We appreciate those guys very, very much. You're in the Car Firearms Group studios with me, Mark Walters, filling your prescription for freedom here in said studios in front of the CZ mic. And, of course, it's all brought to you by the National Rifle Association here at the Patriot Mobile Communication and Command Center. You can find all of our great partners at armedamericanradio.com. All of our sponsors are there for you. Click on them. Support them. It's why we're here. Justin Moon, let me go back to you before I go to Ryan Petty. Talking about the Democrats being the party of violence. Would you agree with that, Justin?
Well, they certainly do support mob violence. We saw that with the Antifa riots, and we're seeing that now in Minnesota.
And it's getting worse every day. I want to read for you an exchange on Facebook. Polk County Sheriff, and I can't wait to go to you on this one, Ryan, because you live in Polk County, and Grady Judd is, in fact, your sheriff. Sheriff Judd responded to a reporter's question about undocumented immigrants, and he said there's no such thing as an undocumented immigrants. They're illegal aliens who violated our laws to be here. They're not undocumented. Well, Paige Sullivan, I don't know what you call her, an influencer. I hate that term. She's got a few thousand followers, I guess, over at Facebook, said the following in response to that Polk County Sheriff's Office post that Grady Judd is so famous for. About every day he puts these up on his social media, including Facebook. Paige Sullivan said, "What a disgrace. Nobody is illegal on stolen land, Justin." To which Steve Harrelson responded, "Paige Sullivan conquered land." To which Paige Sullivan responded, "Steve Harrelson, get kirked." To which Steve Harrelson responded, "Get iced, Karen." Justin, get kirked means get shot and killed, get murdered, is what this Democrat influencer just put out days ago on Facebook. What does that tell you, Justin, in light of what we're seeing in Minnesota right now and all the hate after Charlie Kirk's murder? They don't even hide it anymore, do they, Justin?
No, they don't. And it's not just that influence. There's a whole slew of them who are basically saying the same thing. We are at a tipping point in our country. I mean, if it goes anymore, we're going to be in a hot civil war.
It's a cold civil war right now, ladies and gentlemen. And if you don't believe they hate you, what a disgrace. Nobody is illegal on stolen land. You mean conquered land. Get kirked. That's the response. Get kirked. Incredible stuff. Polk County, you know Polk County well, Ryan. You're in Polk County right now. Sheriff Grady Judd, you've had dinner with him out of uniform. He's a good friend of yours. When you see and hear stuff like this, again, when we can watch what's happening in Minnesota, as long as the media gives us the majority of it anyway, we see the violence. Well, what goes through your mind, Ryan?
Well, I watched that press conference with Sheriff Judd. He also he put the reporter in her place for sure.
Masterfully, I might add.
Yeah, that 74% of the apprehensions that they've done in collaboration with ICE have been criminal apprehensions.
And the other 26%, he said, by the way, we're riding with them. Those are his own words, okay? He didn't mince words there. Let's make that clear.
I mean, let's not forget that crossing into the United States is a crime. And so they've all committed a crime, and then they come here and commit additional crimes. And those are the ones ICE is going after. And I can't believe we gotten to the point where Democrats have absolutely zero shame in this. They are defending child rapists, child murderers, rapists, criminal activity. That they are the party of criminality and criminals, and that's who they're defending. And you've got guys. I was here on Twitter during the break looking. There's a guy standing out in front of his home with a rifle. Big marshmallow puff guy standing out with a rifle in front of his home, saying he's going to take on ICE. I mean, this is a party that is supporting criminals and criminality, but is enabled and empowered by people that, quite frankly, have a mental illness.
Well, liberalism is a mental disease. Brad Primo, how many times have we talked about that? But before we go there, I want to get your FCC-friendly opinion on the Get Kirked statement from the Democrat influencer on Facebook in response to what Grady Judd said, which was 100,000 gobzillion% true. Brad.
Oh, I mean, I'm trying to keep it SEC compliant. I mean, these guys can talk tough all they want. They can be like the new version of the telephone tough guy. I have a feeling they're probably not going to fight too much when that first round flies by their head. It to take the piss out of a lot of people. This guy standing out there with his rifle, I saw his picture. Go ahead. If he feels strong, you go ahead and jump. He's probably not going to like the consequences of what happens. Like, these people, the way they're acting, probably because they are millennials, they're acting like they think this is all a game. The lady that was shot and killed by ICE last week, if you look at the look on her face, she didn't think it was serious. Mm-hmm. She thought that she could do what she was doing, and there was not going to be any consequences. These people have been allowed to run wild for years with no consequences. If there's anything cruel about what's going on, I think it's maybe a little bit cruel that we allowed these illegals to stay in the country for so long that they think they have a right to be here. It's cruel that we've allowed these people to behave as criminal animals in our streets and behave how they want to without actual consequences. That's cruel because they haven't learned any lessons, and now they're grown adults and they're out here making big boy choices that's going to have big boy consequences they're not ready for. It doesn't mean they don't get to experience it. I hope I get to see it. Frankly, Mark, I mean, we are in the middle. We are in the early stages of an insurgency. We're fighting an insurgency now. We did it for 20 years in Iraq and Afghanistan. We got a lot of people in this country that have a lot of experience, both boots on the ground and behind the scenes, on how to fight an insurgency. It's going to be ugly, but the only way to get through it now is just to go through it. They've already thrown down the gauntlet. They've disregarded rule of law. You have forget influencers. Hakeem Jeffries himself is already threatening if they ever get back in power, they're arresting everybody. Mm-hmm. Okay? They've got states, Maryland, trying to pass a law that if you ever work for ICE, you can never be a law enforcement agent in Maryland. They're going to further weaponize government against their enemies, and it's going to keep getting worse and worse unless we break them now. We're going to have to break them now, and it's going to require a lot of really hard things to look at, hard things to consider. But if we don't do it now, we're going to be having to fight these people for the next 20 or 25 years.
Yeah, we're not going to let that happen, although you are absolutely spot on. Justin, let me Greg, how much time do I have? Do I have enough time to go to Justin, or should I wait until we come back from the break?
We are at 40.
We're at 40 seconds. Justin, let me set you up with a question here. You can ponder it over the break. I can't wait to hear your response. But you mentioned what's getting ready to happen, and it's hot. It's not cold. We're already in the cold stages right now. So I want you to think about that, because I want to ask you a pointed question about how close are we to hot? And do you believe, like I believe, that the best that can happen at this point in American history right now, the best thing that can happen is it's an amicable divorce? When we come back from the break, I'll take that to Justin, because we had better hope that it's an amicable divorce, ladies and gentlemen, because the left is pushing violence and celebrating violence on those with whom they disagree. That means you and your family, your wife, your husband, your children, your parents, your grandparents, and every bit of extended family you have that thinks like you. The left seeks violence upon you. I could read dozens upon dozens upon dozens of these types of responses from the tolerant left in the United States of America. There's nothing tolerant about these people, ladies and gentlemen. They want you dead. Very serious conversation and serious business. When we come back with Justin Moon, assess it all. Don't go away. One more segment to go. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. One more segment to go. Buckle in. It's going to whip right by. Hope you're enjoying the program as much as we enjoy bringing it to you every single day. You can watch us every day right here on all these platforms between 4 and 5 Eastern and 1 to 2 Pacific.
This segment is brought to you by Attorneys on Retainer. Get the only self-defense program for gun owners backed by a real law firm, the Attorneys for Freedom. Visit them online at attorneysonretainer.us. Welcome back.
Welcome back indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, put this card in your wallet. If you haven't yet done it, and many, many thousands of you have, if you haven't yet done it, big mistake. Get an attorney in your hip pocket. If you carry a gun and you have to use it to defend your life, good shoot, you're going to need it. Doesn't matter, because you're going to be under investigation by law enforcement. I don't care where you live. Depending on where you live, it may go further. And if it goes further than that, you're going to need the team of attorneys supplied to you for only $37 a month. No brainer. Use the promo code at AAR, save $25 off the sign-up fee for whether it's for yourself or your family. My 21-year-old son, 23-year-old daughter, and my wife and myself have this card in our wallets because all of us carry a firearm. You need to have it as well. And it's real simple. Attorneysonretainer.us, attorneysonretainer.us/AAR. Watch the videos there, learn about the program, and then sign up. It's that simple. Best decision you will ever make as a gun owner and someone who carries a firearm on your person, openly or concealed, it doesn't matter. And if you have to use a brick or a bat or a steel pipe or a rock you find on the road to defend yourself, you're covered. You have an attorney. End of discussion. It's that simple. attorneysonretainer.us/AAR. Justin Moon, welcome back to the Car Firearms Group studios with me, brother. So, Justin, you said hot civil war. We're in a cold civil war. There's no question. The left hates us. I made the comment that the best we can hope for at this point in America is an amicable divorce. Now, I will say this. The woman that made those comments, as far as I'm concerned, should not have a job. I don't know what she does. I don't care. I can tell you this, that if she worked for me, I'd fire her fat ass so fast her head would spin. I'd like to know what you would do to an employee who said something like that. And do you agree with me that the best that can happen at this point is an amicable divorce?
Well, we got to fight for this country, Mark. We know that the Democrats don't win the elections, fairly. They cheat a lot. So probably even in some blue states, the majority of people are going to be patriots like us. We really need to take this country back, and we need to do whatever we need to do, whether it's Trump invoking the Insurrection Act and taking it hard to the commies in the country. But we need to bring our country back to that time where, we used to tell our kids, kill a commie for mommy.
Your family knows that. Greg, I hope you got that drop. That's right there, brother. I think you're spot on. And we did used to teach that, ladies and gentlemen. There was a time in America we talked openly about it. Now, here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody on this program is advocating for violence. It is the left that is advocating for violence. They hate you. They hate this country. They want you dead, period. And they make no bones about it. I could read, as I said, Ryan, dozens and dozens and dozens of posts like that moron page over on Facebook who said get kirked. But I would like your thoughts on this, because Virginians right now face this dilemma, if you want to call it a dilemma, of do I comply with the immoral, unconstitutional laws that the Democrats are foisting on us, that are going to pass, that are going to be signed. These are very, very dangerous times, Ryan, because good people are now forced to make that decision I've talked about for years. The Democrats keep pushing this. Good, decent, hardworking, tax-paying Americans are going to be forced to make decisions they never thought they'd have to make. Do I comply with this law? Ryan.
Look, I'm going to go back to something Brad said near the beginning of the show. Democrats are not, I'll give them, just as Brad said, I'll give them this credit too. They are not afraid to wield power or exercise power when they have it. And they do it without any qualms, and they do it per their agenda, right? Which is why we're seeing the gun control stuff happening in Virginia. right now we have an opportunity with President Trump in place in a Republican Congress. If we can get Congress to grow a spine, that's really the problem. One of the biggest challenges I think we have in the United States right now is we have a Congress that does not fulfill its constitutional obligations or duty. They need to grow a spine, support the President of the United States, uphold and support the laws, the execution of the laws that they themselves passed, right? That's all ICE is doing right now. But we've got to not be afraid to wield power at this point. If it requires us to try and convict some folks for insurrection, then that's what we've got to do. But we've got to restore law and order to the country, and we have to, because if we don't, the next time Democrats get power, they will take us into full chaos like we have not seen since the Civil War.
You're absolutely right about that, Brad. We see the direction they're going, and I think we talked about it last week. Here's the deal, guys. The Democrats have absolutely lost their marbles, Brad. You know that. Trump will only have been in office 1 year in 3 days right now as we're speaking. He hasn't even been in office 1 year yet. That will occur on the 21st, Brad. There's another 3 to go. Watch what they're doing right now and ask yourselves this question honestly, ladies and gentlemen. What else are they capable of? Brad. Brad's muted, so we'll wait for him to come back. I'm pretty sure he's muted. There he is.
I keep making the same mistake over and over again.
It's a cheek mute. Anyway. It's a cheek mute. It's okay. We know that. We know you didn't go anywhere.
They tell us what they're going to do. They don't hide it. They don't hide it. They tell us. I mean, when someone tells you who they are, you need to believe
them. Yes.
These people are authoritarians. They are not interested in your liberty. They're not interested in all these people they say they fight. They're not even interested in that. They are criminals. They are communists. They are scum, and they're not even trying to hide it. And so whatever they get away with now, they're going to push a little bit further and a little bit further and a little bit further every chance they get. Our best hope right now, and I know you said amicable divorce. Like I'm still holding out hope that over the next 3 years that we absolutely crush them in every way you can imagine through criminal prosecution. They are up to their eyeballs in the fraud that's been going on. That's why they're fighting so hard. We're getting rid of their illegal voters, their election stealing machine that they have set up, all this stuff that the Trump administration is striking. They're reacting so powerfully against him because he is striking at the very base of what their power comes from. Okay? So if we can give him enough time to be successful, we have a chance. The next thing we got to do is we got to get J.D. Vance or somebody from Donald Trump's tree in office after him. So we have a good 8 solid years of Trumpism in the White House. We need that. We got to get rid of rhinos. These people are afraid to get rid of the filibuster. Mm-hmm. They're cowards because they're using it as an excuse so they don't actually have to be called out on they're deliberately sabotaging Trump's agenda. We need to get rid of the people who are getting in the way of that. We got to get rid of those rhinos, and we got to start wielding power like we mean it. Because if we don't do it, our enemies are going to absolutely go haywire on us in a couple of years.
Yeah, and they've already got a foothold. Justin, I'm going to close out with you. We've only got about 15 to 20 seconds. Do you have anything cool new that you're going to be displaying at SHOT over the next week?
I got a new Tommy gun which I'm showing you. You'll love it.
Oh, because Justin knows I love my Tommy gun. I've got one, ladies and gentlemen, and it is a family heirloom right out of the box. Make sure to check out Car Arms. You can just Google Car Arms. Go to car.com, KAHR, ladies and gentlemen, and check it out. Those Tommy guns are the bomb. Justin Moon, CEO of Car Arms. Have a great SHOT Show, brother. I'm going to miss you this week. I'll reach out to you by text tomorrow. Ryan Petty, Parkland Father, thank you for being here and your candid approach to everything. And Brad Primo just lays it out. Ladies and gentlemen, remember what Neil McCabe said. If you can't have dinner with him, how are you supposed to have a country with him? Armed American Radio again, 4 o'clock tomorrow. We're going to get up and do it over again because they don't want us to. See you on the radio.
You just filled your prescription for freedom with Mark Walters, presented by the National Rifle Association. The National Rifle Association on the Armed American Radio Network.
Guys, thanks for tuning in. Some great comments over there, too. John Lorenz says, now that a Leninist runs Virginia's government, there is little hope. John, I can't disagree with you on that, brother. I think you're absolutely correct. Virginians don't have a lot of hope right now. The rally day is tomorrow in Virginia, guys. Keep this in mind. Pay attention to this. Make sure to visit vcdl.org and get updates and the truth and the real photographs and video of what happens there. Here's the deal. A few years back on rally day, with a threat of new gun control, they brought about 60,000 people to the Capitol. What's going to happen tomorrow? If it's not in six figures, guys, I'm going to be incredibly disappointed. And I don't know that it's going to be. If it's less than it was at the previous huge rally, to me, that signals tossing up my arms, man. There's more of them than us. It's not worth my going, and I hope to God that's not the case. We're going to be following it tomorrow. We'll see if we can grab somebody from VCDL who can come to us live from the rally in Virginia tomorrow afternoon. We'll be back on the radio for you, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 Pacific. You can do the math in between those time zones and figure out where you're at. 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, Armed American Radio's Daily Defense. Please subscribe to us, like us, follow us, okay? We need it. Join the National Rifle Association. Get an attorney on retainer. Get something from all of our great partners, budsgunshop.com. They've got you covered, every single one of them. And wake up, drink some Blackout coffee, for crying out loud. It supports all of your gun rights. Thanks for being here. We love every single one of you. We'll see you on the radio tomorrow. Enjoy your day. Stay safe. Never, ever, ever leave your cave without your club. No self-respecting caveman would have ever been caught outside his cave without his club. I love you guys, each and every one of you. Enjoy your day. Stay safe. We'll see you on the radio tomorrow.